888-8255. Again, that is 888-8255. Kevin Kerrigan with a look at all the big stories that we're going to be talking about just about all morning long. How you doing there, Kevin? No courtroom drama yesterday?
No. Drama on the political front.
There certainly seemed to have been some drama on the political front. A little bit of catfighting going on over at the conversations with the candidates yesterday.
Indeed.
And then an announcement sort of on Facebook that we will play for you here in a little bit. I'd love to start off the program with as we like to do here, the round of who's watching on Facebook. But I'm having a problem launching to Facebook here this morning. I know. I don't know what it is. I got a thing that says I've got invalid credentials, and I'm the only guy that has credentials.
Yeah, that's what happened to us the other afternoon.
You watch? Yeah, I might have to restart a couple of things, and now is not a good time to do it because we're actually involved in the broadcast of the morning show now. So that's going to be kind of tricky. Here's though what you can do, and it might be a good time to reflect on this for just a moment. We are multi-platform here. You can listen to the program on 93.3. If you've got an HD radio, put it on 104. That's Boss 104, and then HD3 is where you can find another version of this program. No, it's not another version, another copy of the program, if you will. Anyway, so you can do that. We are also streaming now, effective immediately on YouTube Live.
Nice,
like the legislative channel. So you can go to YouTube right now and just type in Ray Gibson in the search bar, and it should take you to a live feed of the program that we're doing right now. And in fact, Well Body 101 says, people squawking that there is no Facebook, LOL, YouTube is better. You know what? I'm told that the video on YouTube is better, but there's more people on the Facebook. So I got you. So those of you that are looking for me on Facebook Live this morning, sorry, go to YouTube Live. Like I said, just go to youtube.com and then type in Ray Gibson, and you should be able to watch the program. Unfortunately, we won't be able to see the commentary going up and down. Shucks, darn. We'll figure that out next, and get everything all taken care of. But my goodness, welcome to Friday and the weekend. As Kevin said, it's got the feel of an interesting race that is heating up. We've got Ray and Lou going at each other here, and then Frank and Alicia have made a video. And I'm going to play the video. Let me see if I can scare this thing up on my YouTube, on my Facebook. It might take me a second here. I had it queued up a second ago, but I was, messing around and turning everything on and off again. So it'll take me a second to get to it. But it was a very interesting. Video that showed up on Facebook yesterday. And I thought, well, that's interesting because we had heretofore not heard anything from Alicia and Frank. And then all of a sudden, like I said, here comes this video on Facebook. And now I got the feeling like we're in for a new race. I can't play the video for you on the screen right now, but I can get the audio on the speakers right. So we'll press this button here and listen to the sound of Frank and Alicia and their thoughts. Go.
From the start, we have asked people to believe in something bigger, to believe in better.
We also hear the criticism, so let's set the record straight. We are and will always be leaders of our word, who believe in the commitments that we make to our people. But a promise broken before the ink is dried, with underhanded smear attacks, is a breach of trust to the people of Guam and to all of us who signed the Unity Pledge. We signed the Unity Pledge in good faith, and that's a fact.
But the Unity Pledge cannot and should not be used to deny voters their choice in this election. Broken promises and backdoor deals are never more important than people. That's the old way. And that's what we are trying to fix.
Frank and I believe in a new way of government, fighting for what is right. You deserve that.
You, the people of Guam, are greater than any unfulfilled pledge. Many of you have asked us to consider a write-in challenge. That challenge will be great.
But the need to take back our government is greater still. We both know that. Our commitment remains first and foremost with you the people of our island, and what you need and want. It's not always easy doing the right thing, but the right thing is the only thing to do.
I'm Frank Blasagun Jr., and I approve this message.
And that tacit approval there, is that what it's going to be all about here? Is that the signal? Is that the dog whistle that the write-in campaign is on and underway finally? Is that what that is?
Sure sounds like it.
Sure does. Sure does.
Who do you think they're blaming for those nasty political ads that ran ahead of the primary? There's all of these guys that have sent me paperwork that look like, some kind of forensic work that they did, backwards channeling to find out what the IP address is that all of these the kill death hit pieces came from. And I know that there is a lot of finger pointing now at the Lou and Josh campaign as being the source of all of the kill death hit pieces that came out against Frank Uggan. It's positive. That's what many people are saying, is that the forensics kind of lead back in that direction. Clearly, there's some anger in that Uggan Bianco.
Well, yeah, and that's the thing. I'll post a link for you at some point. I'll post a link up on Facebook so you can take a look at it. And the reason why you need to watch this here as well as listen, it's not necessarily the phraseology here that we're talking about. What it is, when they start talking about a promise broken before the ink is dried, at that point, the video begins to flash all of these kill death hit pieces, little the memes and the photographs and all of that that were coming out just days prior to the primary election, you will recall. And so, as I said, they are saying that we were subjects of attack before the ink was dried on the so-called Unity Pledge, which gives them now all of the, I suppose, the credibility that they need to be able to be a part of a write-in campaign.
I'm not a talk show host. I'm just an average voter.
Yeah.
I'm glad that they finally came out of the closet. However, I feel like that their strategy and their understanding of the Unity Pledge is a little off base. The Unity Pledge wasn't about not dealing with politics. It was about how to behave once the race was ended, i.e. the primary election. That's what that Unity Pledge was about. It wasn't about how you carry on your politics. Politics is politics, and it's going to be dirty. It has to be dirty. Otherwise, you don't get out all the dirt. And everybody knows this. I mean, it's just how it is.
Well,
so I think they just misunderstand the Unity Pledge. But I'm glad to see that they've made an announcement.
Well, I don't know. I think maybe the time for the Unity Pledge now has passed. We knew, there was always, there's thinking that if there's, we're not going to support a write-in campaign if it comes up, and I'll tell all my followers to support you should I lose this election. But there's a general understanding that we're not going to be throwing crap around, and that certainly isn't the case. And so, like I said, if there had not been maybe all of the negative ads that had come out about Frank early on in the campaign, perhaps they would have stepped back and said, well, the people have spoken. There is the mandate for Lou and Josh. But because there were, and because there is, as I say, a strong sentiment from among people that's where some of that dirt was coming from, that gives them all of the approval that they need, all of the justification that they need to be able to stand by and support not their write-in campaign. Remember, it's not their write-in campaign. It is Ken and Andre's write-in campaign, right?
The people's write-in.
No, thank you very much. The people, the people in their write-in campaign. Maria Pangolin on the line this morning. Hey, Maria, how you doing?
Fine, thank you, Ray Gibson. I'm not here to talk about campaigns. I'm here to talk about homebound voting.
Yes, let's do that.
So come next week, October 8th, starts in-office with excuse voting. Mm-hmm. And that, of course, is part of absentee voting, as including homebound services that the Guam Election Commission offers. So we want to get a shout out so that those families or the person himself or herself is at home and we'll need Guam Election Commission to come out. Please call us at 9791 or have the caregiver or a family member call us so that we can schedule to come out to your house to get you to vote for the general election.
Right. Can do, can be done. We'll pass that message along. Kevin Kerrigan from the Guam Daily Post is listening in on the conversation, and he'll be happy to make sure that that gets posted in the Post at some point so that people know that this service is available to them. Again, 477-9791 for information on in-office and what do you call it, homebound voting.
That's correct. The earlier we get the names in for homebound voting, the better off we all are. That means Guam Election Commission can make sure to go out and serve you. And on another note, if any homebound voter or non-registered voter, we need to service them before October 16th.
Keep that in mind, everybody, as you're trying to figure out how we're going to make sure that that the people, everybody has got a vote that will count.
That's correct. We can go out on or before October 16th. We can go out and register someone, just so long as they're a U.S. citizen and, of course, been here on Guam for 30 days. We can go out and register them if we can get a photo ID.
All right. Happy to, again, put that information on the air for you as often as we can. What is it, another 32 days or so between now and the general election? 31?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
It's getting close. Hey, but you ought to have a couple extra dollars in your pocket. Has anybody in that political action committee that's not a political action committee, have they written you a check yet?
No, not yet. We haven't heard from them.
But have you heard from the Attorney General's office? Have they decided to pick up the case and decide what to do with these guys?
No, we haven't heard from them either.
Yeah, that seems to be the case a lot these days.
They have decided to investigate.
They will investigate.
Yes,
Okay.
they said
Kevin,
yesterday.
according to Kevin Kerrigan, the folks over at the Attorney General's office have, in fact, decided to investigate this group that apparently is raising money and apparently spending money, but is not necessarily all lined up with the Guam Election Commission and their rules and regulations for political action committees.
Yes, Ray, but for the Political Action Committee, they have until October 12th to respond to the Guam Election Commission. So, you know, they have a little bit of time before they send us a response.
I got you.
Next Friday.
I got you. All right, Maria, thanks so much for the time. It's always fun talking with you. Get to work. Let's get some voting in.
In fact, one more. I'm on the way down to J.P. Torres Success Academy.
Yeah.
They asked one of the I think government teachers asked us to come to be guest speakers in her class.
What? Who's asking for what?
J.P. Torres Success Academy.
Right.
Okay, so one of the teachers asked us to come to her class, and actually it'll be in the cafeteria. So we're thinking that the whole school will be there. And we should be able to register some young adults.
I understand. Are there any politicians planning to show up? Any contenders in any of the races planning to show up?
Because we were invited, we didn't ask anybody to come with us.
So it's just the Guam Election Commission. Well, you're an exciting bunch. I think the students will be just enthralled with you and your presence.
We'll see if that's true.
All right. Maria, thanks so much for the time. You have a terrific morning at JP Torres.
How good luck for you, Ray Gibson.
All right. Yeah. Yes. And I love it when she does that, when she calls me Ray Gibson like that on the radio. It's 6:31 and time for me to say Kevin Kerrigan from the Guam Daily Post. Here's a quick look at headlines.
Half a day and good morning, Guam. In the headlines from the Daily Post this morning, Doris Flores Brooks, the Republican candidate for the Guam delegate seat, says she would seek congressional approval for the Chamorro Land Trust Commission if elected. The CLTC is currently being sued by the U.S. Justice Department, which claims that the act is racially biased. During a forum at the Sheraton yesterday, Brooks said it's important for the CLTC to be congressionally sanctioned in order to protect it from that lawsuit. She pointed out that indigenous land rights have been recognized on other island communities, pointing to Hawaii and the CNMI. Her Democratic opponent for Congress, Senator Michael San Nicolas, agreed that federal action is needed to defend the CLTC, but he said Guam should be cautious about how it proceeds. He said the only constitutional protection afforded to Native peoples and their lands is tribal recognition. Any other act would lack constitutional surety and be subject to future challenges, said San Nicolas. The Office of the Guam Attorney General has now confirmed that it will investigate alleged disclosure law violations by the People for Progress Political Action Committee. The decision to investigate follows receipt of a letter from the Guam Election Commission informing the Attorney General that People for Progress failed to file campaign finance reports in violation of election law. People for Progress originally registered as a political action committee with the GEC, but they now claim they're not a committee anymore and not subject to disclosure requirements. However, back in 2016, they did file a financial disclosure statement revealing they had raised $116,000, and they reportedly paid for an ad featuring Lieutenant Governor Ray Tenorio at that time before he declared his candidacy for governor. Stumbo Middle School was placed on lockdown yesterday afternoon after a riot broke out between a group of students. It happened about 1 o'clock in the afternoon. Guam police were called in. A release from the Guam Department of Education says about 10 students were involved. Their parents were called. 2 attendance officers were dispatched to the school. Statement from Guam DOE said that they're not aware of any weapons being involved, and it's not clear from the statement whether any of the students were injured. For these stories and more, log on to postguam.com or pick up a copy of today's Guam Daily Post.
That's a good idea. At 6:34 in the morning, that's iConnect time. Connect for longer for less. They are the practical choice. My friends over at iConnect, great rates on things like mobile and internet and push-to-talk plans. Call them this morning after about, 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, 888-8888.
One of the longest-running primary care clinics on Guam, the FHP Health Center, has been your convenient one-stop healthcare clinic for you and your family for many generations. FHP's highly trained and well-known medical, dental, and vision providers and their friendly clinical support team are here, ready to take care of you. In addition to the excellent care, FHP offers a full-service pharmacy, laboratory, radiology, and specialty care center in one location. FHP Health Center, our island, your clinic. Most insurance accepted, including Netcare, Aetna, and TRICARE.
Hot pastrami, that's what's waiting for you for lunch today over at Subway. They've got lean cuts of pastrami-style meat. You can put that on whatever bread you favor, whatever condiments that you want on top of it, whatever extras that you like, and maybe even a cookie, because you can get those at Subway as well. Hot pastrami for a limited time only, Subway.
The first ever of anything is always special. That's why we're excited about the first ever 2018 Nissan Kicks. The Kicks kicks things up with best-in-class MPG, standard safety technology with automatic emergency braking system, and best-in-class cargo space to meet any lifestyle. Upgrades kicks things up with Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, and Bose driver headrest speakers. Over 1.4 million colorful options means your Kicks can be a first ever of its kind. The Kicks starts at under $20,000. Visit Nissan Guam for a test drive today. Nissan, innovation that excites.
Not a whole lot by way of traffic here this morning. Looking at a little bit of traffic building up on Route 10 as you're making your way in between the University of Guam and the intersection that takes you to 10 and 15 over by Price Elementary. Also, a little bit of traffic in front of the church around the Talampago. Not slow, just a lot of cars that seem to be building up through there. Let me just take a quick look. Anderson Air Force Base clear. Navy Hospital clear. And lead into Big Navy down in Sumai clear at this point. Now is a good time to get on the road. Right now, traffic happening on the point.
Please stay tuned for an important message from KFC's Colonel Sanders.
Howdy! I'm back with something new for the people of Guam. KFC's new pickle fried chicken. A different KFC fried chicken experience. Straight from the States. Get a 9-piece family meal with 3 large sides and 4 biscuits, or try our pickle crispy strips with 2 regular sides in a $5 box. Hurry to KFC today and try the new KFC pickle fried chicken. KFC, it's finger-licking good.
News to fill your mind. Talk to get it out. The Ray Gibson Show.
It's 6:37 in the morning. My name is Ray Gibson. Thrilled to be here with you on a Friday. A little bit distressed that I can't do the Facebook Live thing. I did some kind of a login issue that I'm having a problem with, and I'm the guy that gets to fix that. But I can't do that and the talk show at the same time. So I will point you in the direction of YouTube. We are streaming live to YouTube as well. Just go to youtube.com on the World Wide Web and type in my name, RAYGIBSON, and you should be confronted. You should be able to get a thing that says Facebook. You should a live broadcast, and you'll be able to watch and comment there. But I can't put the comments on the screen, unfortunately.
Now we're also on some streaming services, right? That they can get us on. Just the audio.
Well, obviously the audio. Just go to the website and up around the top there's a thing that says "Listen Live." Okay. Click on that, and of course you can click on another button in there that will give you the video presentation as well at thepoint.gu on the World Wide Web.
And if you're on a phone, here's one quick way to get us on an app. Look up Boss 104 in the Play Store, wherever you get your apps.
Right.
Then you go, when you load the app, you start it up, you go to the menu, and it gives you an option to switch stations. And you can switch it to 93.3 The Point and hear us on your cell phone.
Yeah, tunein.com. We're also there. We're on stream. Any speaker, anytime is our deal. 888-8255 is the telephone number. WhatsApp at 988-5874. That's 988-5874. And YouTube. And maybe this is a blessing in disguise because I wanted to get more people watching on YouTube Live as well. Among the people that I talked to, video files, they say that the video is better. It's sharper. It's clear. And cleaner on YouTube than it is on Facebook. And like I said, you can still chime in and with your comments. Brad Hewitt with his comments this morning, registering high school students to vote. What's the world coming to? Maybe we need to revisit the founders' original intention to vote. Yeah, that's extreme, but rid the LIV from destroying the rest of society. And LIV is, if you are familiar with Rush Limbaugh, you're familiar with the phrase low information voter. And so as I guess the deal is what older people, more experienced and mature and sober people to vote. I don't know. That's the thing about living in this republic, isn't it? Everybody got a voice. Everybody got a choice. Even I'm not going to say I was the smartest 18-year-old there ever was, but what was that noise? What was that?
I was just taking a trip back in time in my own mind, realizing some of the dumb crap I did when I was 18.
Well, I'm still doing it, is the thing. Anyway, 6:39 in the morning, and I wanted to get Jane Flores on the line to talk about the cardboard challenge at Guam Community College. Good morning, Jane.
Good morning, Ray. How are you doing this morning?
I'm doing all right. You guys have been busy at GCC recently, huh?
We have. This has been a really busy week. We had our gubernatorial forum on Wednesday and last night. And today and tomorrow we have our cardboard challenge, and then later in the month we have our senatorial forum. So this is a busy month for us.
A lot going on. Hey, they had the conversations with the candidates yesterday. The Guam Women's Chamber and the regular chamber put all that together over at the Sheraton, and a little bit of a catfight between Ray and Lou. Did anything like that happen at your gubernatorial forum?
No, because ours were just forums. They were not debates. So we had the Democrats last night and the Republicans, Ray Tenorio and Tony Atta, were Wednesday night. And it was just the students asking them questions.
Oh, I see. So they weren't in the room together.
No, they were not in the room together.
Oh, let's get them in the room. Let's get them in the room together over at GCC. Because apparently that's the new thing. There will be fireworks.
So the students wanted to be able to hear each one of them individually so that they could make a decision. So that's how they set it up.
All right. Well, it's interesting to do it that way, but if that's what the students are looking for, then that's what they're looking for. So now you and I have had conversations about this cardboard challenge in the past, but for new listeners, describe briefly what exactly the cardboard challenge is.
Okay, well, the Global Cardboard Challenge was originally a kid named Kane who, and I forget where, but if you go on our website under events, I have the link to the original Cardboard Challenge. It was this young man his dad would take him to work at his hardware shop. Mm-hmm. And he was 9 years old, and he was bored, and so he built like this city out of cardboard boxes. And there was a photojournalist who happened to walk into the store, and to buy something and saw this and said, "Oh my God, this is amazing!" And he put it on YouTube, and it kind of took off. And then teachers started getting involved and saying, "Hey, we're going to do our own cardboard challenge." And this is our GCC Education Department's 5th year of doing this. And what the cardboard challenge is we live in such a techie world, and if you have young children, you know that, the iPad is your babysitter now, because you put, show your kid a video on an iPad and you get, work done or whatever. And what young early childhood education teachers are saying is, no, that's not that good, because play is the best way that young children learn. Active, tactile playing, where they're actually doing things. When you and I were young, it was go outside and play. And the world is a different place now, and so go outside and play sometimes is not the safest thing. But so what our education department has done is turned our MPA every year into just this cardboard wonderland, where the students create these cardboard castles and cardboard places and stores and shops and games and things that are colorful, and it's amazing. And so we bring kids, we have partnered with, there are some preschools that we partnered with, every year we try to partner with different ones and bring them. And then today it's open to GCC employees and their kids and grandkids and the partner schools. And tomorrow it's open to the public. And we are amazed at the amount the kids don't want to leave. They cry when they're
well, any parent knows. I mean, you can go out and buy your kid the most sophisticated toy, but most of the time they have a good time playing in the box that the toy comes from.
Absolutely.
Sure.
And you know what that is? It's imagination. It's what's taken away when you put that iPad in front of them. There's no, the imagination element it's not erased, but it's very diminished. That's what the childhood educators say. And then with a cardboard box, their imagination is just opened up amazing. And so we love going there and taking pictures. From my office, we love taking pictures because the kids are just, their eyes and their smiles, the way they run around and play, and we get parents who say, "Oh my God, my child doesn't want to leave."
Yeah. Well, how old are we talking about? For as you say, today is for GCC staff and their kids, but tomorrow it'll be open to the public. So my kid's 13 now, so I think she's a little old for this. But what's the age range that you're looking for?
Elementary age, preschool age, like first, second grade kind of thing. 0 to 7.
Okay.
Older kids, obviously, our high school, we have our early childhood education CTE program at George Washington High School. And the high school students, they are part of the artistry of making the cardboard things, the cardboard setups. And our post-secondary students do this too. And then we do have a section where the young kids can actually color and paint and create with cardboard too. So if they want to make their own thing, they go around and they see everything that's made. And then there's a section where if, Mommy, I want to do this, then, here, come over here and you can make your own cardboard thing.
Gotcha. All right. Well, it's free and it's going to be happening tomorrow from 9 until 2, right?
9 until 2 tomorrow, yes.
All right.
So bring your child by and it, you're right. It's amazing. You buy your kid the most amazing toy, and even with my grandson, and they want to play with the box.
Grandson, what are you talking about here? You and I just got out of high school and college. What are you talking about, grandkids already?
I know, it's amazing, isn't it?
Hey, how come Ken isn't running for CCU?
Because he, has it just doesn't want to run for CCU yet.
Got a real job. Okay. I don't know. I say every once in a while I think about some brainiacs that probably need to be a part of the Consolidated Commission on Utilities, and his name pops into my head all the time. Maybe one of these days, huh?
Maybe when he fully retired.
Gotcha. 647. Jane, always fun talking with you.
All right, thanks. So 9 to 2 tomorrow in our MPA, Building 400. It's free. Bring your child down. This will be the most fun thing they do all year.
Have a great weekend. I'll see you later.
Okay, take care. Thank you.
647-888-8255. That's a telephone number around here. 988-5874 if you want to send me something on the WhatsApp here as we move through the hour. A reminder, we are not on Facebook Live this morning. It's not my fault, but I'm going to have to fix it later on. And that's okay because there's another way that you can watch the program, and that is by going to YouTube. We are broadcasting on YouTube Live as well. We've got that platform that is cranking this morning, and so there's a video record of everything that comes out of my mouth and everything that comes out of somebody else's mouth. I will, though, point out, yesterday I was highlighting a couple of ads that were running in the newspapers. One of them from Ray Tenorio that was giving Lou a hard time about having a silver spoon, and then one from Lou that was giving Ray a hard time because there's not enough cops on the streets these days. And very interesting, the graphics that went along with that, because it was a picture of a gun in a holster, and we thought that was pretty good in a subtle kind of, wow, we've got tactical genius working over there, don't we? Anyway, so you got that, but there was something in today's newspaper that struck me as odd, and I'd like to show it to you on Facebook Live right now. It's Docomo's campaign these days is the perfect pair, and they're talking about different things that people, the combination of foods that they eat, great pairs and great pairings. Now I'm pointing this out not because it's got a pretty girl in it, although that's another reason to look for the ad. But the other thing is they're talking about a snack that she is eating. Rice crackers and chocolate. Rice crackers and chocolate candies. The two don't go together in my head. I've never tried that. And I think the next time I lose a bet on the radio, I think that's one of the things. Because I always say, if I'm wrong, I'll eat a bug. Yeah. But maybe in this case, if I'm wrong, I'll eat rice crackers and chocolate candy. Who does that?
Actually, some of the
she does, apparently, yeah. But
yeah, clearly. But you get some of the little mixes, like trail mixes, and they'll have some of that in there. No, of course, to go along with peanuts.
But I don't think I've ever had rice crackers. I mean, I know what you're talking about, and I enjoy eating that. That's fine. But I mean, it's the rice crackers part. Yeah. I mean, that's got the soy sauce and the umami. I'm not necessarily a soy sauce and chocolate guy. Too great taste. Well,
I think those rice crackers are going to be the bland.
Is it too great? Two great tastes that taste great together? I don't know. 6:49 in the morning. 888-8255. And the excitement now of the possibility of an actual three. I have been after Ken Leon Guerrero to get after Frank Uggan and Alicia Limtiaco to finally come out with something that is a little bit more indicative of their willingness to participate in a write-in campaign. And yesterday, I got my wish. Good morning, Ken.
Don't we get the music, because this is a miracle you've been waiting for, remember?
Did you want music? Do we have a music thing? Do we have a music piece? I actually saw Frank last night at a chamber event, and he'd come in there to frustrate everybody because it was one of those things where, like, hey, Frank, we got to talk. And he's like, Ray, just enjoy your evening, buddy. Just have a good time. I'm like, no. 5 minutes, Frank. We got to get 5 minutes on the radio with you. You just have a good time at the party tonight. Hey, there's an open bar over there, Ray. Come on. Hey, let's have a good time. But he would not submit to an interview or a call-in opportunity this morning, so you're going to have to do. So you got to Frank, huh, Ken?
Nope.
Nope?
No, I still haven't talked to him.
Really? Well, who is coordinating all of this then?
Well, let's put it this way. Andre and I are coordinating with each other. We're coordinating now with probably over 100 people at the village level. And Frank is going to do whatever Frank is going to do, but it's still a grassroots operation. And we have to keep it that way in order to protect our charter. Because according to the law, our charter, we are not allowed to coordinate activities with politicians. And so that's why we keep our campaign focused on making contact, working with people, And I know this drives you nuts because we're not driving around with pickup truck signs and things like that. But what we're doing is we're meeting with people, small groups of people. These meetings are becoming more frequent. I don't know if you saw our voter survival kit that I posted on our page, but yesterday I gave out 73 packages of cards, 100 cards per package. You know.
Ken, did you have a question for Ken? Hold on just a second, Ken.
Well, Ken, I'm just curious. I mean, aren't you curious? Wouldn't you want to call him up and ask him what's going on?
Yeah.
I mean,
hey, nice
that's not
video.
coordination.
Yeah, nice video you posted on Facebook. Oh, by the way, you know, we're happy to put up some signs for you, and you know, have people go to 76 and buy more of those coffee sleeves.
Well, I'm going to keep my activity consistent with what we've done in the past because that's the best way for me to avoid getting a letter from Maria. It seems there's a song like that.
The letter from Maria, maybe a phone call from the Attorney General's office. They seem to be pretty active on that.
One thing that we have done consistently is we have done interviews with candidates and potential candidates.
Mm-hmm. So go interview him now.
Yeah, see, I was thinking about doing that last night. I got my phone out, and there's Frank, but he was, glad handing everybody at ANZ last night.
He doesn't respond to our phone calls either.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I intend to do that because I still have a list of candidates that I have to finish doing the video interviews on before the general election. And I'm just going to put him in that queue. I'll probably move him up a little bit, but he'll still be in the queue, and we'll still be following a pattern that we have established for 2 election cycles. So this won't be any different than how we do business.
All right. So the video that was posted yesterday changes nothing with you?
No. It was a nice video, but it doesn't change our focus, our activities, or our plans.
All right. Hold on a second. I gotta take something off the page here. According to the video machine, I'm still talking with Jane Flores. But the fact of the matter is, I'm talking with Ken Leon Guerrero, and Ken, along with Andre, along with Mr. Healy, are folks that are behind a write-in campaign. Not necessarily happy with the outcome of the primary election. Not necessarily happy with the grouping of the Democratic contender and the Republican contender, and would like for the people another option. And there are other options out there. You can write in Frank and Alicia. Is that right?
Yes, you can.
Okay, or you can write in Bob Klitsky and me if you wanted to.
Well, unfortunately, Bob Klitsky has gone on public record saying that if drafted, he refuses to accept. If he wins, he refuses to serve.
Yeah.
So we'll have to put Kevin in with you.
Well, I'm the same. I would listen. I just be if write me in, but understand this: I'm not actually going to do anything. I'm just going to be in it for the perks.
Well, so you just knocked yourself out of competition by saying you won't do anything.
Well, would it be all that much different from what it is now? I'm sorry, it's Friday morning. I'm kind of frisky. I'm just kind of frisky. So that long and short of it, and Brad writing on YouTube Live this morning, it's obvious Ken has spoken with an attorney and advised him that he should say he's not speaking to Frank. That would be against the law.
Well, Ken hasn't spoken to an attorney. Ken is just going by a plain English read on the rules and regulations of political action committees.
Noted, and so we'll just kind of leave it there. Can I ask you a question about what the future holds for you and Andre and Jim? Is it possible that there might be something like, I don't know, a rally in the making, in the offing?
We're in the process of organizing a couple of village meetings of our own.
Village meetings. Okay, so not rally, but village meetings. How about motorcades? You got anything like hey, do me a favor. If there's a motorcade, make sure that Frank is sitting down.
What's the status of that lawsuit, Ken?
Yeah.
Last I heard, the Guam Election Committee had no objections to Vern as the judge. Vern said that once he got that back, he would be setting a scheduling order. I have not received that scheduling order yet, but we're still in the game.
All right, so no scheduling order, so we don't know whether the verdict, his ruling is going to come out before or after the election.
I think we're tentatively, he's looking at March 19th.
Okay, so I'm clearly not the only frisky one here today.
My lawsuit against the government of Guam over the fuel tax, we're still in court there, and that's been, I think, since October.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. So we're in our second
the wheels of justice grind unbelievably slow sometimes, huh?
Yeah, but the important thing is getting the precedent set. You know, that's the important thing, getting precedent set going forward, because as you know, I've had a long battle with the primary process.
Yes.
And this is the result of what everything we're going through right now is the result of the flawed primary process. If we had just had a general election and everybody, you know, was in the game seriously from the word go, because there were going to be no second chances, this would have been an entirely different campaign and an entirely different election. So that's why we're still going to push for eliminating the primary, and we're probably going to have to do it as a voter initiative, because the politicians have shown great reluctance in canceling the primary because they can't afford to hold their own primary. So they would rather taxpayers pay for a primary.
Yeah,
and they don't want an independent candidate, so they made it impossible for an independent candidate to run here on Guam.
Well, we have had that conversation on numerous occasions, and unfortunately, in the heat and the fray of the election season, not necessarily a good time, and maybe especially with the slate of folks that we've got in the government right now, maybe not a good time to ponder changing too much of the way we conduct ourselves politically around here. I worry that would just be opening the door to all kinds of, for lack of a better word, crazy. Hey, listen, I got to go because it's almost 7 o'clock in the morning. I'll see you at the rally. I mean, the village meeting.
Educational meetings.
Educational meetings, yes. Town halls, round tables, that's what we'll call them. You have a terrific weekend, Ken. I'll see you pretty soon. See you on the social media. The radio station you're listening to right now, and I hope it's as entertaining to you as it is to me, is KUSG. Gotten you. We are 93.3 The Point. Coming up, I got Facebook Live. Coming up, I got a look at what's happening in the markets. Coming up, I got a look at all the big stories with Kevin Kerrigan from the Guam Daily Post. And Jerry Roberts going to be in the studio doing the Extra Point live. And in front of the camera that are pointed at YouTube Live here this morning. You're having a couple of login issues with Facebook Live, but you can still find me on YouTube Live. Just go to the site and type in Ray Gibson, and there might be some crazy videos of some crazy things, wacky stuff I did back in the 80s, but there should also be the video of this morning's program.
On Capitol Hill, I'm Lisa Brady, Fox News. Protesters ratcheting up the pressure on undecided senators with a final vote expected Saturday on the Supreme Court nominee. Fox's Jared Halpern is live on the Hill.
As a key vote on Brett Kavanaugh's confirmation nears, supporters and opponents are making their voices heard. Hundreds of protesters chanting and waving signs supporting the women accusing Kavanaugh of sexual misconduct. Judiciary Committee Chairman Republican Chuck Grassley says it's Democrats that have put this nomination process on a course for a demolition derby.
They just about destroyed a good person to be on the Supreme Court.
A Republican say an FBI report provides no corroboration of sexual assault allegations. Democrats who have viewed those documents say that's not conclusive. Lisa.
Thanks, Jared. Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer.
I disagree with Senator Grassley's statement that there was no hint of misconduct.
He says a redacted version of the FBI report should be made public. President Trump is in Minnesota for another midterm campaign rally, tweeting earlier today that 100 FBI investigations of Kavanaugh wouldn't be enough for Democrats. Vice President Mike Pence echoing the president's claim of election meddling by China.
Vice President Pence says China is waging a coordinated campaign to undermine support for the president and to influence elections next month and in 2020.
Beijing has mobilized covert actors, front groups, and propaganda outlets to shift Americans' perception of Chinese policy.
The vice president telling the Hudson Institute in Washington,
China wants a different American president.
China denies any effort to interfere in the American democratic process.
Fox's Rachel Sutherland in Washington. Interest rate concerns return on Wall Street. The Dow dropped 200 points. This is Fox News.
We get it. Gas and utility rates keep rising with no end in sight. But with Double Play from GTA, you can get an extra sweet deal that'll save you extra cash. Sign up today and get 50 megabits per second with fiber home internet, unlimited talk and text, plus 25 gigabytes of wireless data. And new customers get the first month free with no contract. Save over $500 in the first year and get extra with Double Play from GTA. Conditions apply. Visit gta.net for more details.
Jury deliberations underway at the murder trial of a Chicago police officer who killed a teenager 4 years ago.
Prosecutor Jody Gleason told jurors in closing arguments that this isn't the Wild West, where an officer can use deadly force to shoot someone 16 times.
When deadly force is used, when it's not necessary, when it's not justified, it is first-degree murder.
Though Jason Van Dyke's defense team calling that charge preposterous, saying Laquan McDonald was whacked out on PCP and armed with a knife, telling jurors not to believe the prosecution's fake tears, that had McDonald not been killed, they would have charged him with multiple crimes. Jeff Manasso, Fox News.
Investigators in Pennsylvania now say the car explosion last weekend that killed a 26-year-old man, his 2-year-old son, and a friend was a murder-suicide. The man had sent letters to family and to police saying he intended to blow all 3 of them up. A former rap mogul is heading to prison 3 years after he hit 2 men with his car, killing one.
Former Death Row Records co-founder Marion Suge Knight was sentenced to 28 years in state prison. The 53-year-old struck a surprise deal with prosecutors a few days before his trial for murder and attempted murder. He pleaded no contest to voluntary manslaughter and agreed to a 28-year sentence. Normally, it would be an 11-year sentence. However, Knight's previous felonies triggered California's 3 strikes law, which doubles the manslaughter sentence and adds an extra 6 years.
Fox's Michelle Polino surveillance footage showed Knight reversing into one victim, then driving forward into the other. Baseball's playoffs officially underway, both National League Division Series beginning. The Rockies facing the Brewers shortly. The Braves and the Dodgers play tonight. In New York, I'm Lisa Brady, and this is Fox News.
At Guam Regional Medical City, it is our mission to become the island's premier choice for specialty care, like cardiology, pulmonology, neurosciences, orthopedics, oncology services, and more. We aim to protect our island from heart attacks, strokes, cancer, and diabetic complications. But should you suffer from such diseases, we're ready with world-class options, both inpatient and outpatient. For more information, visit us at grmc.gu.
Get a 20-ounce stainless steel Circle K Coffee Club tumbler. Just stop into any Circle K, sign up for our Power Pass rewards program, and after your purchase of 15 cups of premium coffee, any size, you get your tumbler for free. While supplies last, conditions apply. See store for details. Get a 20-ounce stainless steel Circle K Coffee Club tumbler. Just swipe your Power Pass key fob when you purchase Circle K premium coffee, any size, and after 15 cups, you'll get your tumbler for free. While supplies last, conditions apply. See store for details.
Calvo started with a simple handshake. As we celebrate 80 years, we extend a hand to all of you who have taken our hand in trust, to the dreamers and realists, the families, the businesses, the young at heart and the old souls, our manumku and our children. From all of us to all of you, our deepest, happiest, and infinite thanks.
80 years here for you. 80 years thanks to you. Calvo's Insurance, a legacy of trust.
Cheese curls and hot sauce, pantosta and coffee. Great alone, but better together. Here's another perfect pair for you. Docomo Pacific has created the Better Together bundle, combining 2 great services for one low price. Get unlimited local talk, text, and 20 gigs of data, plus unlimited home internet speed up to 20 megabits for $109 per month. You also get free installation and a Galaxy A8 Plus when you sign up today. Mobile plus online from Docomo Pacific. Better together. Some conditions apply. Call 688-KRC store for details.
Family Finance, serving the people of Guam since 1959. Now you can start planning for the holidays by getting a personal Christmas loan from $1,000 up to $3,500. Family Finance has 3 convenient locations to serve you. Give them a call in Dededo, 633-4473, Hagåtña, 475-4545, and the Upper Tumon location on the 2nd floor of the Pacific Building at 647-5626. Get your Christmas loans today from Family Finance.
Half a day and good morning, Guam. News time here at The Point is 8 minutes past 7 a.m. I'm Kevin Kerrigan. Here's a look now at some of the top stories from the Guam Daily Post. By a vote of 8-3, Guam lawmakers yesterday approved a measure that would allow qualified patients to grow their own medicinal marijuana under certain conditions. Senator James Espaldon, Talina Nelson, and Dennis Rodriguez Jr. were the only senators to vote against the bill. Senators Frank Uggan Jr., Mike San Nicolas, and Mary Torres were absent. The bill was introduced by Senator Louise Muña, who said she proposed it out of frustration with the lack of progress on the already existing legislation that was passed more than 4 years ago and is now law. Bill 302, however, her bill requires patients or their caregivers to obtain a permit to grow cannabis from the Department of Public Health. They can grow up to 12 juvenile plants and 6 flowering plants. The cannabis has to be grown inside under lock and key. Outside cultivation not permitted. Public health inspectors will be allowed to inspect the plants, but 24-hour notice must be given. The inspectors will also be permitted to seize any plants that exceed the number permitted. Guam Regional Medical City has announced its intention to suspend maternity and pediatric services. GRMC Chief Medical Officer Dr. Felix Cabrera explaining in a release yesterday that the private hospital has come to a critical juncture where we must refocus our limited resources. The date for full closure has not yet been decided, according to the release issued yesterday. However, the statement says the closure of maternal and child health care services is expected to take place by the end of this year. The release notes that maternity services are already available at Guam Memorial Hospital, and GRMC President and Chief Operating Officer Dr. Mike Cruz is quoted as saying that the region's health challenges are too great with too limited resources to be operating redundant services that can potentially be consolidated. Senator Dennis Rodriguez Jr., meanwhile, the chairman of the legislature's Health Committee, said GRMC's decision seems to be a positive move. He said each facility should define its role, with GRMC becoming a specialty hospital and GMH concentrating on basic services like birthing babies. This is maybe a step in that direction, said the senator. It's going to be a win-win for both facilities and, in general, a win for the people of Guam as well. GMH Administrator Peter John Camacho could not be reached for comment. We'll have more news after this.
Taste the sizzle at Chili's with our new fajita flavors. Our signature fajitas are served with sliced bell peppers, caramelized onions, topped with chipotle garlic butter, and chopped cilantro. Build your fajita with over 16 ounces of tender grilled chicken, juicy steak, and a dozen pieces of seasoned grilled shrimp in a family fajita trio. All served with warm flour tortillas and fresh toppings like mixed cheese, guacamole, salsa, and pico de gallo. Experience bold, sizzling fajita flavors only at Chili's. More life happens here.
Are high power bills sending your budget into chaos? Take control with the help of Micronesia Renewable Energy. Using the highest quality panels, a solar energy system from MRE will guarantee to save you money on power. With MRE, Christmas comes early. With every solar energy system, homeowners not only get $400 for signing up, but also an entry for a chance to win $1,000 in cold, hard cash, just in time for Christmas. It pays to be an MRE customer. Conditions apply. Call 632-2613 for details. MRE, the smarter choice.
11 minutes past 7 a.m. here at The Point. The gubernatorial team that finished second in the August primary has posted a new video on their Facebook page that suggests they're still in the running as write-in candidates. Senator Frank Uggan Jr. and his running mate, former U.S. Attorney Alicia Limtiaco, posted the video yesterday. It's entitled Setting the Record Straight Part 1, indicating there's more to come. The message boils down to a defense of their decision not to fulfill the terms of the Democratic Party's unity pledge, and it hints at the possibility they're about to relaunch their campaign without explicitly saying so. Ken Leon Guerrero of Guam Citizens for Public Accountability telling the Guam Daily Post that it sounds like they're agreeing to allow us to support them in our write-in campaign. Leon Guerrero and Andre Bainum of Guamanians for Fair Government launched an independent write-in campaign for Ugan Limtiaco last month. The Ugan Limtiaco team has already said they wouldn't stand in the way of the write-in campaign. Senator Ugan has not been available to comment. The two candidates competing for the Guam delegate seat squared off at a chamber forum at the Sheraton yesterday. Doris Flores Brooks, the Republican candidate, said she would seek congressional approval for the Chamorro Land Trust Commission if elected. CLTC is currently being sued by the U.S. Justice Department, which claims that the act is racially biased. Brooks said it's important for the CLTC to be congressionally sanctioned in order to protect it from that lawsuit. She pointed out that indigenous land rights have been recognized on other islands, pointing to Hawaii and the CNMI. Her Democratic opponent for Congress, Senator Mike San Nicolas, agreed that federal action is needed, but the best way to do that is by seeking tribal recognition, he said. Any other act would lack constitutional surety and be subject to future challenges, said Senator San Nicolas. For these stories and more, log on to postguam.com or pick up a copy of today's Guam Daily Post. Ray and Mike now with some weather.
Partly sunny today, isolated showers, then thunderstorms could be in the forecast. East to southeast winds 5 to 10 miles an hour. Daytime highs about 89 degrees and overnight lows of about 77 degrees. That's the forecast for today. What's your prognosis for Saturday and Sunday? Opportunities for grill marks on this guy?
Absolutely, yeah. And that forecast pretty much carries us right on through the weekend. It looks like less of a chance of rain going into the weekend and into next week as well. So today, probably our best chance, but we live on Guam, so, anytime it could pop up. You just got to always be ready. Have the umbrella.
I got you. Just keep a spare set of beach clothes in the car because you never know when the opportunity for grill marks might come up. 7:14, that's news and weather together right here on The Point.
Fuso trucks are sold, rented, and serviced exclusively on Guam by Morrico Equipment. Available in van body, reefer body, freezer body, or flatbed designs. Fuso trucks specialize in the smaller delivery and service market. Perfect for business on Guam. Serviced by qualified technicians. Fuso trucks are part of the Daimler Truck and Freightliner truck family. Sales, rental, parts, service, and fully maintained lease finance from MorricoEquipment.com. Call Morrico on Ipao Road at 649-1946.
The announcement for today is that it's Friday, and on Fridays, my friends over at King's cook up a whole mess of beef tinaktak. I shared, there was a picture that I'd seen on Facebook the other day. Somebody had actually posted up their the beef tinaktak concoction. It's one of those things. It's comfort food. It's easy to cook up, and it's almost impossible to screw up. But in this case, and I got to check with the guys over at King's. They had pumpkin tips in it. Which is, if you've never eaten pumpkin tips, you gotta go find a local family that knows how to go out to the yard and go through the pumpkin patch and never mind the pumpkins. It's the tips, old wartime food, and you make it with the tinaktak, and it is so good. You put some cherry tomatoes in there and some onions. Hey, see, now you're thinking about, I need to get me some beef tinaktak. Where can I get that today? You get it at King's.
The Westin Resort Guam is excited to announce the return of Hansik at Taste. Experience the elegance of Korean cuisine throughout the years, infused with a modern Chinese twist. Their guest chefs from Korea will take you on an extraordinary culinary voyage. $36 for adults and $18 for children 6 to 11. From October 8th to the 13th. Come and enjoy the taste of Hansik Korean lunch buffet from 11:30 to 2:30 at Taste. Call the Westin Guam Resort for reservations at 647-1020.
7:16 portions of the program brought to you by First Hawaiian Bank, where it all starts with yes. We also want to say shouts to my guys over at Micronesia Renewable Energy. Never been a better time to go solar. Guam Regional Medical City, first choice for all of your open heart surgical needs. Got buddies at American President Lines, APL. They're shipping the future. And, of course, it's American Water Tech. Smarter water, better water.
Morning talk that matters. The Ray Gibson Show. Call now. 888-TALK. That's 888-8255.
That's funny. Yeah, you want to talk about radio silence. They're making videos in the Ugg and Alicia Believe camp, but nobody's answering the telephone. And I should have taken advantage of the opportunity when I saw him last night to horse collar him into a corner at a big mixer, chamber mixer that they had over at ANZ. He was in attendance at that, and the wan, frank smile as he walked around the room knowing that he was disrupting. Now, there's a couple of different ways that people are looking at this. One of them is, hey, great, we've got a new campaign. We've got maybe the official start of some kind of a write-in campaign with Frank and Alicia. And then you've got a number of other people that are saying, you're screwing it up for the Democrats. That's what you guys are doing. Is you're going to split the party and you're going to pull Lou and Josh's chances at Adeloop out of the jaws of victory. You will actually snatch that campaign out of the jaws of victory and assure another 4 years of at least another 4 years of a Republican at Adeloop. That's what some people are saying as well. Where is the debate going to end? I don't know. Got no idea. It'll probably end up on Election Day, November the 6th, not too far away from where we are right now. Just really a handful of weeks between here and there. And it is beginning to look like we've got an interesting campaign. Although I will say I'm somewhat disappointed over the nature of the debate that they seem to be having. The thing is, foster kids, is that really going to be the issue that Ray is going to use between here and there to break Lou and Josh?
I think it's poor boy, rich girl. That's
right.
Yeah, the theme of the campaign seems to be I've had a tough life and.
I'm with you. I'm one of you people. Yes, I'm from the great unwashed public.
Yeah.
Huh. All right. Well, we'll play around with that and some of the other topics. 888-8255. That's 888-825-988-5874. And we're normally at the beginning of the show, I do a big deal about saying hello to everybody watching on Facebook Live. I've got some login problems on Facebook Live, and as a result, am unable to present the show on Facebook Live. I can't figure it out, and I'll be able to, I'm sure, at 10 o'clock this morning. I can't do anything about it now because I can't sort out the computer issues while I'm trying to execute a talk show. Hazards, if you will. But it's not the only way that you can listen to the program and watch the program. You can watch us live at thepoint.gu on the World Wide Web, or go to youtube.com. In fact, by a happy accident, we started broadcasting on YouTube Live just this week, and a great platform, a very stable platform, and they tell me a better looking platform. You can make comments, though the comments won't necessarily show up on the screen. Brad's made a couple of comments here this morning already. Ted Lewis says, glad to have found you this morning. Who else is playing around? Dora Fergerger is online with us. Well Body 101. Well Body. Now, don't you want to right click on that and see what they're talking about here? ASL, age, sex, location. That's what we're looking for. And so there are opportunities for you to continue to watch the program. We'll have Jerry Roberts doing his Extra Point live in the studio here in just a second. But first, time to take a look at what happened on the markets. You're not going to like the news. All of the markets are down here today. S&P 500, 2901. They're up by 23 points. NASDAQ dropped 145 points. What happened there? I'll have to look that up. The FTSE is down, and the Dow Jones Industrial Average off by 200 points. Now, reminder, they've only put about 300 points on the board in the last 48 hours. So 200 points worth of a loss is not staggering, but it's attention-getting. As I said, the FTSE's down. Nikkei is going to open down. The Hang Seng Index is going to open down. Shanghai's like the only thing that's up today, up by 29 points, and the DAX is off by about 43 points. Now, on the other numbers that we like to look at, and there's been some movement in oil. West Texas has gone from about $76.22 and moved backwards to $74.63. I'm still not crazy about where that's trading at, because those are, frankly, Tapas numbers. When you start seeing the West Texas trading at in the mid-70s like that, Tapas is spooky today. You want to hear this? Maybe you don't. $89 and a nickel. Ow! You felt that, right? $89 and a nickel for a barrel of Tapas crude. That's the stuff that turns into the gasoline that goes into our cars. So I got to make the pitch again. If you are near ever ready, then buy at the relatively low $4.43 a gallon.
It's a conspiracy.
It's a conspiracy, I tell you. I was thinking about this yesterday while I was in traffic, pondering whether I wanted to go to the gas station or not, and I was pondering the idea of maybe talking to the guys in the car business about an electric car or some kind of a hybrid. Yeah.
Or just buying a trailer and put a big tank on the back of it and just roll it behind you.
You will remember back in the 1970s.
74.
Yeah. There were people that were hoarding gasoline.
Yes, they were. Putting it in the ground, as a matter of fact. They were burying 1,000-gallon tanks and things like that and putting it in the ground and pumping it out from there.
We had a couple of oil drums at the house that had been converted to gasoline drums, and of course the scary thing is, number one, they rust and it'll get out into the environment. But number two, there were the concerns that people might get a little bit too close with a lit cigarette, and a match or something like that, and make cause for a 50-gallon drum filled with gasoline.
New sinkhole in the neighborhood.
Yeah. And then there was the other thing. I remember that we were doing some yard mowing. And nobody wanted to go to the gas station, and they said, "Well, we've got the gasoline in the drum in the back." Yeah. And we opened it up, and we couldn't use that gasoline. It had run out of gasoline-ness.
Oh.
Yeah, it wouldn't work. We poured a little bit of it into the lawnmower, and it stopped working.
Oh, no.
Yeah. So there's something about stability and being able to keep things fresh that we didn't know back then, but we know now.
But it was like 49 cents a gallon, so hey.
Yeah, relatively low. But you remember people were freaking out in 74 because it went from 35 to 45. Whoa!
Yeah,
and again in the late 70s, you remember when gasoline went over $1 a gallon?
First time.
And people begun to freak like you wouldn't believe. 7:23 in the morning. That familiar voice that you hear in the background is none other than the artist formerly known as J.Q. Fanihi, Jerry Roberts, in the studio this morning for an Extra Point Live. A couple of great extra points that you've done in the last couple of days. The 12 deals for managers.
12 things good managers believe.
Yeah, and again, I'll say, download that. Go to GuamTraining.com, download it, and just every day try to ping in on one of those things, and do that for about a dozen days at the workforce and see what changes.
I will tell you this. If you download this, I think it's number 166 and 167, you download those two, and you do exactly what Ray is saying, and you follow them, you will become a great manager that your people will love and want to work with and want to stay at your company longer.
And they won't ask for raises. In fact, they'll want to work for free. They'll volunteer for the weekends. All of those kinds of things is, just 12 things that good managers need to know. And here to deposit some wisdom into your brain bank, here is Jerry Roberts in today's Extra Point.
The words came to me early one morning, and they ring true, whether it's about business, politics, as well as most other pursuits. And we're going to get to those and add in the thoughts of an old workout partner today on the Extra Point. I had just finished writing and designing our new team-building course, Professionalism 101. It needed a tagline, something that would be meaningful and get people thinking. It was maybe 3 o'clock in the morning, and my eyelids were screaming, "Where's the pillow?" Then the words came, and my eyes came wide open. What you put up with, you end up with. That line has resonated with a lot of managers this year as they found themselves nodding their heads when they read it. They knew well that it applied to them, and if they were going to see a change, they needed to hit the reset button. A company that lacks direction and seems to run on the whim of whoever you're talking to at the time is what my earliest mentor, Big Ed, used to say was like a carnival with the monkeys operating the rides. It might be fun to watch for a while, but monkeys tend to make a mess of things. I've lived in Guam for most of my adult life, and the way we choose our elected leaders has been slow to change. Social media has made an impact, and that will continue as more and younger people join the voting pool. The old ways of voting for who my parents voted for isn't as prevalent as it has been. We still vote for party more than we should, and for people who are somewhere in our extended family, and maybe that will change too. Some people support and vote for a particular candidate because a job is offered, and if they win,
and that will probably never change. Until we become smarter and better voters, that line applies to us. What we put up with, we end up with. Most of us don't do our homework and ask enough good questions about what candidates believe, how they solve problems, and whether or not they know how to play nice with the other kids. We listen to sound bites in the news and smile at their social posts. I spent about 9 years, off and on, hitting the gym with a fellow named Simon Sanchez, who is a member of the Consolidated Commission on Utilities. We talked about stuff like this. When I interviewed Simon for the cover feature in Directions magazine 21 years ago when he was running for a seat in the Guam legislature, he said a couple of things that are as meaningful today as they were then. Simon said, "We need to examine our processes in making public policy decisions because it's quite clear that some of our collective decisions aren't cutting the mustard." Then he added, "If our expectations are low, then the people we elect are probably going to meet them." What are your expectations, and why are you so sure the folks you plan to vote for will meet them? Are your expectations too low? Do your candidates really have what it takes to make a positive difference? We're just a month away. And remember, what you put up with, you end up with. That's the extra point. Get out there and make something good happen today. For 93.3 in the Ray Gibson Show, I'm Jerry Roberts.
Man, there is some truth there, isn't it? Yeah. What you put up with, you end up with. And always a good warning to people. When you start to see things that you go, I don't think I want to live with this for a while. You've got to put an end to it immediately.
You know, and some things will not change, and some things will change slow. And the whole issue about, and when you see candidates put their campaign stuff up, and they have their last name plus every other family name that's even remotely attached to it, you know, what are they trying to do? Oh, that's my auntie. That's my cousin. I think I'm going to vote for them. That's probably the world's worst reason to vote for somebody.
Yeah, exactly.
Just because they might be in your extended family. But, you know, that's part of the culture, and it's part of what we do. But, you know, this is going to be an election that's very, very important, not only just for governor, but for the legislature. Because maybe the next legislature after this one is the one. But we're coming to a time where we're actually going to have a couple of nickels to rub together.
When is that? What are you talking about?
Well, when the military folks start to get it, going to be more money.
There'll be more money floating around, and they'll use that as an excuse to spend more money.
No,
that's the scary thing.
The point is, that's the point. They will actually have some money to spend.
Well, they've got money now. It's almost $1 billion worth of revenue that has come in through the Department of Revenue and Taxation. Yeah. And so for that incredibly high amount of money, what do you see out there that has improved our life?
Okay, point well taken.
Right.
A
lot of payroll got taken care of with that $1 billion.
But that's always been the issue.
Yeah.
Okay, it's always all the money that goes into the government. 97.9% of it goes to salaries. Yeah. So there's, do the math. There's not much for capital improvements and things of that nature. But these folks are going to have some money to spend down the road too. And are these the folks? And point is, that money will not last forever. And at some point, we'll be back to where we are today, bro.
Pay the debts, guys. Pay the debts with whatever money.
Who are you going to elect? Just think about that. Anyway.
So the line is of the what is it, 50 or so people that are running for office that you'll see on the ballot. Which one are you willing to say, here, hold my wallet? Think about that while the commercial's playing. It's 7:30 in the morning. Headlines and traffic coming up.
Grilled salmon, petite sirloin. Can't decide.
What are you doing?
Making my top 10 list of favorite dishes at Ruby Tuesday.
You really need to get a hobby.
But I can't decide. There's no way I can narrow down so many classic dishes to just 10.
Then it's a good thing Ruby Tuesday did it for you.
It's the all-time favorites menu at Ruby Tuesday Guam. We took our most popular dishes and put them on one great menu for only $14.99. Hickory pork chop, Parmesan shrimp pasta, prime loco moco. 10 top sellers at one great price. Pick your favorite for a limited time at Ruby Tuesday Guam.
It's Micronesia Mall's 30th anniversary, and to celebrate, we are giving away a new Kia Soul LX, a Mazda 3i Sport, the popular Honda Civic LX, and 30 Manila Flyaways during our 30th anniversary Drive-Away Flyaway. Win 3 great cars from Triple J Auto Group, 30 Flyaways from Philippine Airlines, plus thousands of prizes from Burger King and Foot Locker when you play Micronesia Mall's 30th anniversary Drive-Away Flyaway.
Nice. Doris is going to be on the radio in just a little bit. 888-8255 is the telephone number here at the point. And another reminder here, because of a login issue that I cannot solve while I'm actually talking on the radio, we're not on Facebook Live. We are, however, on YouTube Live. And there are already people that have discovered, hey, you can make comments here. Citizens for Public Accountability say, to quote that famous newsman, and I think this is in reference to the conversation with Jerry Roberts about what you put up with, you end up with. To quote the famous newsman Howard Beale, in agreement with Jerry, we're mad as hell and we're not going to take it anymore. Hence, the write-in campaign. Guam Citizens for Public Accountability. You might recognize the name Kenley and Guerrero and Andre Bainham that go along with those particular groups. 7:32 in the morning, and do we blow off traffic here for a second? Let me just take a quick look at the gizmo and see if there's anything that is worth warning you about. And it looks like, you know, as usual, you might have a little bit of a delay, a little bit of traffic getting into the Air Force and Navy bases. And southbound Marine Corps Drive coming out of Jigo and into Dededo is beginning to build up, and we're seeing traffic on Route 10 around the University of Guam and the intersection between 10 and 15 start to build up as well. But I don't see any red spots, so that's good for traffic. Now, news from the Guam Daily Post. Here's Kevin Kerrigan.
Half a day and good morning, Guam. In the headlines from the Daily Post this morning, the Office of the Attorney General has now confirmed that it will investigate alleged disclosure law violations by the People for Progress Political Action Committee. The decision to investigate follows receipt of a letter from the Guam Election Commission informing the AG that People for Progress failed to file campaign finance reports in violation of Guam election law. People for Progress is originally registered as a political action committee with the Guam Election Commission, but now claims it's not a committee anymore and not subject to disclosure requirements. However, back in 2016, they did file a financial disclosure statement revealing they'd raised $116,000, and they reported paying for an ad featuring Lieutenant Governor Ray Tenorio, who at the time had not yet declared his candidacy for governor. Stumbo Middle School was placed on lockdown yesterday afternoon after a riot broke out between a group of students. Happened about 1 o'clock in the afternoon. Guam police were called to the campus. Release from the Guam Department of Education says about 10 students were involved. Their parents were called. 2 attendance officers were dispatched to the school to find out exactly what happened. The statement from Guam DOE said that they're not aware that any weapons were used during the rioting. It's not clear whether any students were injured. A man who hadn't been seen since September 9th has been found, and police spokesman Sergeant Paul Tapau says he's in good health. 55-year-old Johnny Salas Cruz reportedly suffers from dementia. He was last seen walking along Route 2 last month. Cruz was only reported missing on Wednesday, and then he was seen later that night at the Agate Marina. For these stories and more, log on to postguam.com or pick up a copy of today's Guam Daily Post.
Thanks, Kevin. 7:34, and that's iConnect time. Swing by iConnect or call them at 888-8888 and ask them about why they believe they are the practical choice. And then get ready for a litany of incredible reasons. Like, yeah, we got great prices on mobile and internet and push-to-talk plans. So check them out today at iConnect.
The first ever of anything is always special. That's why we're excited about the first ever 2018 Nissan Kicks. The Kicks kicks things up with best-in-class MPG, standard safety technology with automatic emergency braking system, and best-in-class cargo space to meet any lifestyle. Upgrades kicks things up with Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, and Bose driver headrest speakers. Over 1.4 million colorful options means your Kicks can be a first ever of its kind. The Kicks starts at under $20,000. Visit Nissan Guam for a test drive today. Nissan, innovation that excites.
You got to fall for the new fall flavors waiting for you over at Wendy's, and there's locations all over the island. Go in there and try out the new salad that they've got. It's a harvest chicken salad. So you got the chicken, you got the lettuce, red and green apples, dried cranberries, and the perfect combination of applewood smoked bacon and crumbled feta cheese. Can you imagine the explosion of flavors in your mouth? Hold on, get ready for an explosion of saliva in your mouth as I say the words vinaigrette. There is going to be an apple cider vinaigrette dressing, and that's going to pair with the brown sugar roasted walnuts. Lots and lots of flavors without spending a whole lots and lots of money on salad today at Wendy's.
The problem isn't just not being able to hear or understand, or having to tell people to speak louder. Sometimes the frustration is having to repeat yourself too many times or speaking so loud you're almost shouting. At Guam Hearing Doctors, we understand that hearing problems affect both sides. One of our goals is to help your hearing for those around you. Call us at 989-TEST to learn more.
Now, this is kind of amazing. And when you type pink shirt into WhatsApp, there's an emoji that pops up that's a pink shirt. Amazing. I'm going to try that again. You can try. I don't know if that's just in WhatsApp or whether it's a Samsung thing, but I think it's kind of cool. But when you press the button, when you actually send it, it becomes a purple shirt. 7:37 in the morning. I'm sorry. It's just the minutia and the little tiny thoughts that go through my head when I'm supposed to be telling you about something important like traffic. As I said, we've got traffic building in some of the usual spots. Southbound Marine Corps Drive, got a couple of places between the Chicken Joy intersection and 1 and 3. Looking at a little bit of traffic coming out of the Archbishop Circle, actually going into the Archbishop Circle from Tumon. You are going to see traffic beginning to build coming out of 8, 10, and 16 southbound towards Agana. It will clear up, and then it'll get snotty again as you get closer to the intersection that takes you onto Teedson. What do we got here in Mangilao? Traffic in and out of the intersection of 10 and 15, and traffic around the University of Guam GCC area beginning to build. Once you get onto Route 4, though, should be clear once you get past Chilanpago. A little bit busy through there, but Ordot, Agana Heights, Sinahanya, all looking pretty clear right now. That's right now. Traffic here on The Point.
Security Title is honored to join in sponsoring Ray Gibson on The Point. Half a day. I'm Mark Benventi of Santa Rita, and this is where I start my day, listening to the voice of our community and sharing thoughts and issues that affect us all. It all boils down to our people, our land. Protei Igumama. Protect your home. When purchasing or refinancing your home, remember to call the professionals at Security Title, just like you call Ray Gibson in the morning.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, I just noticed. I'm sorry. You know what? The challenges with new technology every once in a while, as I said, preventing me from being able to get on Facebook Live this morning. But we are broadcasting the video feed of the program to YouTube Live, which is also very cool. They tell me the video is a whole lot better on YouTube Live. And people saying, "But can we do comments? Can we make comments?" Yes, you can. You can make comments, and I've read a few already, including the one from the Guam Citizens for Public Accountability. But you know what else you can do? You can apparently retract your messages. So if you write something on YouTube Live and you go, oh, maybe I don't want that lingering around for posterity, you can retract it. That's fun. That's okay. And I've told you this before, and I'll tell you this again because I think it's about the funniest thing in the world. So if you are a part of a WhatsApp group, this is what you want to do. You want to write something and then delete it and then leave the group. That's what you want to do. And that way, everybody in the group will go, wow, who ticked off Ray? What did Ray say? He's mad. He left the group. He typed something and then he left the group. What did he say? What's wrong? Is everything okay? Do it. It'll be fun. Just trust me on this one here. 888-8255 is the telephone number, and I believe, unless I'm too far off, I have not senatorial, not gubernatorial, not AG, congressional candidate, Doris Flores Brooks. Good morning, Doris. How you doing there?
Good morning, Ray. That was an interesting comment on WhatsApp. I didn't know that.
Yeah, no, you should do that every day. So I'm sure that you're a part of a bunch of different WhatsApp groups, and every once in a while you need to prune yourself from these groups. And so just for fun, just for giggles, like I said, write something, delete it, and then leave the group. And then everybody will go, wow, what's up with Doris?
Anyway, Ray, I wanted to talk about my introduction of the bill on Homeland.
Well, I wanted you to talk about it. I got the note yesterday, and there's some interesting commentary that's floating around, and I wanted to, for clarity, find out what the intention is. You're not trying to go CNMI on land around here, are you?
Well, I think that we need recognition for the Chamorro Land Trust Commission, particularly in light of the suit.
Yes.
Because, and there is precedent, and actually there is precedent with the CNMI as well with the Hawaiian Homeland.
Well, let's back up, and so for me, the concern is, are you suggesting that there ought to be restrictions on who can buy and sell and own property on Guam, the same as they have in the CNMI with Article 12? I believe that they've got the same thing in Palau.
Yes, similar to what we have throughout Micronesia, similar to what we have in the CNMI, and similar to what we have in Hawaii. Yes, there should be, and that was the reason the Chamorro Land Trust Act was the purpose to give for all the land takings from the military. This was a way of giving back to the people of Guam whose lands were taken by the military.
So
and that's what this bill is to do, to support that. And we're only talking the Chamorro Land Trust Commission land and no other land.
I see. So you
only the Chamorro Land Trust Commission land, no
right.
other land.
So if I wanted to sell my property and I am of Chamorro descent, I could sell it to whoever I wanted to. I could make a deal with Kevin Kerrigan or Michael Knight, and they'd be able to purchase the property. On the other hand, if I was seeking to get land from the Chamorro Land Trust, then I would have to be able to identify as a person of Chamorro descent.
Correct.
Right, which I believe you have to do now, or at least a person that is identified through the Organic Act.
And the purpose of that, again, is to recognize all the land takings by the military, and for which not everybody was able to get back their property, and not everybody will, from a compensation point of view. And we want to protect that particular group of people.
Has there not been attempts by the federal government of the United States to provide compensation to the families who endured their lands being taken for things like Navy Base and Anderson Air Force Base and Navy Hospital and the Guam International Airport?
No, there has not been, other than the return of the lands. No one has really received any form of compensation for that.
I'd be interested to find out how some of the people, and we've had the conversation on the air many times. The guys like Benny Crawford who've been fighting for alternatives to land returns because of things like the Guam International Airport and bases that were built on the family properties. There seems to have we've seemed to have created another class of individuals that are, as you point out, are never going to get any kind of compensation and are incapable of getting the land returned to them.
Yeah, and our Chamorro culture and values need to be protected, and that's the whole purpose of the legislation that I would introduce.
Gotcha. And so this is all working in your head right now, and if elected, be among the first things that you put before the Congress of the United States, to have the issues surrounding who is a Chamorro, who is of descent of Chamorros, and who would be eligible then for the remaining lands that we have here under the Land Trust.
It would be similar to what is already identified in the Chamorro Land Trust Act. We want to just keep the consistency of this. And the other thing I want to make a comment on, the tribal designation that my opponent is seeking, really all that would do, again, is consistent with what he wants to do, is give the federal government more administration over GovGuam, and rather than less administration, because under the tribal status, it is the federal government that is going to oversee it, rather than the Chamorro Land Trust Commission.
Right.
And both Malin Berdali as well as Dr. Underwood have indicated reservations in going through that route.
Well, given some of the problems that we've had that have come to light about the Chamorro Land Trust Commission and their apparent inability in the last 25 years to be able to follow their own rules, and now what I believe is going to be a sweeping of all of those which should be voidable leases under the carpet in the coming days, I think maybe there ought to be somebody else that's looking over the Chamorro Land Trust properties.
Well, I disagree with you, Ray, on that. That was the act is a good act. possibly the administration or the process might have been flawed. And,
Well, I'm not saying it was a bad act. I'm certainly not saying it's a bad act. I think I agree with the view that there ought to be properties that are set aside for folks of Chamorro descent who might not otherwise have access to any property. But as I was saying, the Chamorro Land Trust Commission certainly has had its issues in the past and might require a little bit more by way of adult supervision. I mean, you can't disagree with that given the headlines.
No, I disagree with you. I don't want the federal government telling the Promotional Land Trust Commission how to do this.
Well, I wasn't suggesting it would be somebody in the federal government, but maybe somebody other than the group that's been running things recently.
Well, again, I think the process might have been flawed a little bit, but I think in general, most people who have received land deserve it and got it rightfully so. There might be a few, but until there's an audit done to show that many should have been voidable. I think there was well intention in giving out the land, and it will be now up to the legislature to decide whether or not to accept it or not.
That in and of itself is going to be interesting, given the fact that it's an election year, and as some have pointed out, we've either got lame or lame duck in there. So we'll see what happens when we get past that. Other than that, how is the campaign coming along?
Oh, it's coming along well. Yeah, and every day we're out doing things and reaching out to social media and to various traditional media.
How'd things go with the Women's Chamber yesterday?
I thought it went well, but unfortunately most of the media didn't cover it because I was the lone candidate.
Really? You think you would have had more fun if you'd been able to get into a little bit of a debate between you and Mike?
Well, it was not a debate. It was a question and answer forum.
Right. But it's always nice to be able to have point-counterpoint.
Yes, and we did not have that yesterday.
Are there any opportunities that are coming up? Are there any forums or debates that are coming up? I think the Rotary Club's got a couple of things in the next couple of weeks.
That's right, and there's a few others coming up.
Okay, well, we'll get with Mike and tell Mike that he's got to go out and I don't know, mix it up, get into a couple of scraps with you like Lou and Ray got into yesterday.
I'm sure that's going to go forward. And again, just to close out, we don't want. We need to manage our own land issues. We don't want another fellow receiver managing Chamorro Land Trust lands.
Gotcha. Doris, I appreciate your time and appreciate your view on the issues. Perhaps a little bit of clarity from the federal government and some guidance from them on how these things are supposed to act, so we don't get into constitutional questions and constitutional debates like we're in now, and I think we're going to be getting into in court soon.
Well, again, that's the whole purpose of introducing the legislation for the recognition of the Chamorro Land Trust Commission, and its purpose and intent, again, to protect our culture and values.
Gotcha. Doris, you have a fantastic weekend. I'll see you out there somewhere.
Okay. Bye-bye.
7:49 in the morning, 888-8255. That's 888-8255 is call-in number. WhatsApp me at 988-5874, 988-5874. One of the WhatsApp comments was, hey, wow, that's a very pink shirt that you're wearing, Ray. And the reason is number one, man enough to be able to pull off pink, and then the other part of it is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. And so you're going to see a whole lot more pink floating around out there. And the other reason is because I think it makes my tan pop. At least that's what the thinking is in my head. So that's why I'm wearing the pink shirt on the YouTube Live here today. And that's all you got to do if you want to watch the show. Go to YouTube, type in under the search bar Ray Gibson, RAYGIBSON, and we'll be more than happy to we'll send you the video link of the program as well as comments. Rico Blancaflores checks in just about every day. Says, found you, was having talk show withdrawal symptoms for a while there. Well, appreciate the fact that you have searched me out and have now found me on the Facebook Live. A couple of other notes that we wanted to pass along to you. There, somebody was asking yesterday, what's Troy up to? And I can't remember what the genesis of the conversation was, but somebody had asked, where's Troy and what's he up to? And the truth of the matter is, I don't know exactly what he's up to, but I will tell you that he's working on stuff. A criminal complaint has been filed against Senator Frank Uggan Jr. And Frank's name is coming up a lot today. We had the story on Facebook about what is it, Clearing the Record Part 1? Setting the Record Straight, Part 1. And if you don't have the link...
Can't wait for Part 2.
and you figure if they named it Part 1, there's going to be a Part 2 that they're working on. And I don't know what what the world needs more of, ladies and gentlemen, is 3-minute video pieces on Facebook where there's a whole lot of slow motion video and an annotation that goes on to talk about whatever it is. The takeaway points, though, are this. It is clear that somebody is pushing through on a write-in campaign. That's number one. Number two is they address the concerns that many in the community have about the Unity Pledge. What about the Unity Pledge? Why are you doing this? Why are you running against Lou and Josh as a write-in candidate? Did you not sign the Unity Pledge? Did it mean nothing to you? And Alicia in the video also makes the point about before the ink was even dry, she says, there's a whole bunch of kill, death hit pieces that had gone out. And that, I think, is the justification that they are using to go ahead and participate as write-in candidates. And there might also be justification in something as simple as the purchase of a cup of coffee. You can go to any 76 Circle K on Guam and buy a cup of coffee. And, you know, you got the cup of coffee in a paper cup, and sometimes you burn your hands. So they give you these insulating sleeves. They have printed now a number of insulating sleeves with Lou and Josh on them, Ray and Tony on them, and the silhouette, unmistakable silhouette of Frank Uggan. And so far, Frank Uggan is number 2 in this unofficial, for entertainment purposes only, survey that is being conducted. You know what? The conventional wisdom is those things can be pretty accurate because people are spending money on this. Now, I would say that by self-volunteering, you negate some of the accuracy of the survey. And I think there's also a point that needs to be made, because I like making it, that I don't think a lot of Republicans buy their coffee from the gas station. No, I think instead we go to the cafe. We're going to go to the cafe, and I'm going to have a cup of espresso, and I'm going to have what do we call? I can't remember. What do we call that, Chris? What's the name of the guy that does the coffee? But Chris, pay attention. I'm talking to you. Have a day. Barista. That's it. It's a barista. That's the word I'm looking for. So we're not going to go to the gas station and get coffee. We're going to go to the cafe and get a cup of espresso prepared special for me by the barista.
I'm a Republican, and I make my coffee at the house.
I'm a Republican, and I make my coffee at the house as well. First thing I do, I wake up, and I go to the kitchen, and I press the button on the coffee maker. And so by the time it's time for me to leave the house, I've got a pot of Jill ready to go.
Well, then we've got more than one thing in common.
Okay, now I might need to do this conversation in segments because I've only got another 5 minutes left before we get to Fox News. But I was very interested to hear a little bit more about modular homes. And much has been made recently since Manghut and the incredible volume of people that were left homeless and requiring some place safe that they could move into after the storm. And you started talking about modular homes. So I wanted to see if we could put the two of them together and spend some time on this. Tell me a little bit about the background on you and modular homes.
Sure. First off, Ray, the board of directors at Guam Housing has been working for several years now on qualifying contractors for affordable housing.
Yeah.
And different building systems. My predecessor, Mr. Beneventi, the late Mr. Beneventi, may rest in peace.
Yes.
Actually had a number of different systems that were presented to him. One was constructed and is up for sale now. That is a fully concrete house. There was 2 presentations to the board on combination metal and concrete structures. This particular contractor, BW24, Mr. Ken Lee, actually seems like he's perfected this metal concrete combination. He's got a stamped engineered plan as well as 4 insurance companies that will insure this structure for all perils. Now, the term modular is, I think the writer used that because we use a comparison of this model of home to compare it to, say, for example, if you were to take a metal container and properly anchor it down and do all the aesthetics and make rooms out of it and make it a livable structure, that will cost you really almost near what the smallest unit that this system is constructed, or what the cost would be. So that's more of a comparison. But this is a fully concrete slab with 4 concrete pillars and metal partitions and metal siding. So that's the combination. The system is made out of Korea, and it really is very impressive structure. Really, the roof is concrete as well. There's 4 inches of concrete on the roof, basically, as well as the 3-inch panel also. So basically, you have an 8-inch or about 7-inch roof.
It sounds like a bunker. I mean, it's got it sounds like it has all of the hallmarks required for something that can withstand 150, 175 mile an hour wind.
It really does.
And if I can get insurance, I can get a loan.
That's absolutely right. So, like I presented at the Rotary Club, the 980 square foot or thereabouts 4-bedroom home actually goes for about, just under $100,000, $99,000, and so, if you amortize that out over 25 years, 30 years, I mean, really, it comes to the point where it's almost like a car payment, Ray, and so. I think it's going to be a system that is definitely going to, fill as far as we're concerned at housing, the largest gap right now is not just middle income, but low income. People that are walking in our doors, Ray, they're not in the $350,000 to even $250,000, capability of taking out that type of a mortgage. We're looking at more of anywhere between $80,000 to $150,000, and that's why this system really fits. Also, my good friend Dan Swavely, who is representing a company that bought the property over there in Orda, that huge piece of property, Sequoia Highlands. He also his investor has approved this building system as well, so he'll be building 2 of the model homes as well on that property. As you may know, on a lot of these big projects and petitions to the government, there is a set aside for affordable housing. So they have to build 250 minimum affordable houses on their huge property.
Right.
And so they've accepted this system at least as a model, and if it works out, they may go ahead and keep constructing them.
The message from Jerry Roberts typing in this morning, can it go bigger than 940 feet?
Absolutely. It's completely, completely able to be sized up. The contractor right now basically just wants to get the system in, get these model homes built. He's got a huge subscription right now, actually. As soon as his website went up, he got 150 hits. He's qualified eight buyers other than the model homes. And, like anybody else, they want to see it, feel it, taste it. You know what I mean? And
Yeah. So in the next hour, tell me, we got to take care of some sports and some headlines and that kind of thing in the next little bit. Can we get you back about 8:30 or so?
I'd love to, Ray. I always have fun rapping with you.
Yeah. Okay, so let's plan on that here, because people are listening and going, I want to know more, and so we'll get you more. Chris Duenas on the line with me this morning on The Point, 93.3. We're KUSG Hagåtña. Talk to you soon, Chris. KUSG Hagåtña. Coming up, Fox News Live, Kevin Kerrigan with the big stories, and then Blake and Kevin and Mike and I are going to be talking about sports, or pretending to talk about sports, and lots of NFL. That's all ahead, right here on The Morning Show on The Point.
Preparing for a vote, I'm Rich Dennison, Fox News. Tensions running high in Washington as the Senate prepares for a procedural vote tomorrow morning that will pave the way for Supreme Court nominee Brett Kavanaugh's confirmation vote.
A large demonstration here in the Hart Senate office with hundreds of demonstrators chanting and holding up signs opposed to the Supreme Court nomination of Judge Brett Kavanaugh. A vote on that nomination, an important cloture vote, is expected tomorrow here in the Senate. A final confirmation vote would then be set up for Saturday. There have been a lot of protests, a lot of demonstrations all week here in Capitol Hill. In some cases, Capitol Police have been escorting senators as they've walked the hallways here to meetings and votes from their offices back and forth to the Capitol.
Fox's Jared Halpern at the Hart Senate Office Building on Capitol Hill. Members of the Senate continue viewing the latest FBI investigation into accusations of sexual misconduct by Brett Kavanaugh. Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell says there's no evidence of any wrongdoing by the High Court nominee.
No backup from any witnesses, including those specifically named as eyewitnesses by the people who brought the allegations in the first place.
Senator Dianne Feinstein, ranking member of the Judiciary Committee, says the FBI probe is nowhere near sufficient.
What I can say is that the most notable part of this report is what's not in it.
North Dakota Senator Heidi Heitkamp, one of the few undecided Democratic votes, says she'll vote against Kavanaugh's nomination. Republican Senators Susan Collins, Jeff Flake, and Lisa Murkowski haven't yet said how they'll vote. There are 3 key votes on the GOP that needs to advance Judge Kavanaugh to the nation's high court. President Trump's in Minnesota tonight preparing for another Republican campaign rally. He's expected to continue hitting the trail until November. This is Fox News.
For more than 40 years, we've earned your trust, caring for our island's health, quality care and access to health solutions you deserve. Take care, our island, your health plan. Take care, health solutions that you deserve. Take care, peace of mind to comfort you. Take care, take care, take care.
Grilled salmon, petite sirloin. Can't decide.
What are you doing?
Making my top 10 list of favorite dishes at Ruby Tuesday.
You really need to get a hobby.
But I can't decide. There's no way I can narrow down so many classic dishes to just 10.
Then it's a good thing Ruby Tuesday did it for you.
It's the all-time favorites menu at Ruby Tuesday Guam. We took our most popular dishes and put them on one great menu for only $14.99. Hickory pork chop, Parmesan shrimp pasta, prime loco moco, 10 top sellers at one great price. Pick your favorite for a limited time at Ruby Tuesday Guam.
Vice President Mike Pence restating President Trump's claims that China is meddling in the midterm elections.
Vice President Pence says China is waging a coordinated campaign to undermine support for the president and to influence elections next month and in 2020.
Beijing has mobilized covert actors, front groups, and propaganda outlets to shift Americans' perception of Chinese policy.
The vice president telling the Hudson Institute in Washington,
China wants a different American president.
China denies any effort to interfere in the American democratic process. In Washington, Rachel Sutherland, Fox News.
Federal prosecutors say a Utah Navy veteran confessed to sending 4 envelopes containing the substance from which ricin is derived to President Trump and members of his administration. 39-year-old William Clyde Allen III was arrested at his house in the town of Logan, north of Salt Lake City. Tourists heading to New Zealand are facing what some say is a grave invasion of privacy.
A new law says visitors to New Zealand must give passwords to customs officials so they can unlock electronic devices and examine them or risk a fine of more than $3,000. The updated customs legislation also gives agents authority to copy data found on searched devices. While the New Zealand Customs Service says the traveling public is unlikely to notice much difference, its Council for Civil Liberty says the law gives officials the power to force smartphones to be unlocked without justification and leaves travelers without legal options to challenge the order. Lillian Wu, Fox News.
Former rap mogul Marion Suge Knight sentenced to 28 years in prison today for the 2015 death of a man he ran over outside a Compton burger stand. Knight's attorneys had contended he was acting in self-defense, but the co-founder of Death Row Records averted a murder and attempted murder trial through a plea deal. I'm Rich Dennison. This is Fox News.
Here at APL, our core values give the company its heart and soul. Whether it's connecting your business with our global network through our newly enhanced service or investing our efforts into giving back to the community, APL is committed to serving you. We humbly honor the opportunity to find innovative solutions for you and your business. To learn more about our enhanced service, call 588-4651 or visit www.apl.com/Guam for more details.
Guam Regional Medical City. We bring the healthcare advances of the world directly to you.
We are an acute care hospital that complements your needs with our robust outpatient specialty clinics. From preventative care to critical care, we strive for consistent excellence at GRMC. Our core philosophy is where patients are partners, which means we work as a team to make a healthier version of you. For more information about GRMC, visit us at grmc.gu.
Family Finance, serving the people of Guam since 1959. Now you can start planning for the holidays by getting a personal Christmas loan from $1,000 up to $3,500. Family Finance has 3 convenient locations to serve you. Give them a call in Dededo, 633-4473, Hagåtña, 475-4545, and the Upper Tumon location on the 2nd floor of the Pacific Building at 647-5626. Get your Christmas loans today from Family Finance.
Security Title is honored to join in sponsoring Ray Gibson on The Point. My name is Alicia Blas from Agate, and this is where I start my day, listening to the voices of our community and sharing thoughts about issues that affect all of us. It all boils down to our people and our land. Putehi Igoma'mu. Protect your home. When purchasing or refinancing your home, remember to call the professionals at Security Title, just like you call Ray Gibson in the morning.
We're surrounded by sound. There are sounds that you need to hear. There are sounds that you want to hear. And there are sounds that you long to hear.
I love you.
Hear it all, louder and clearer than ever before. If you or someone you know has a hard time hearing, Guam Hearing Doctors can help, using state-of-the-art test gear to evaluate your hearing and coming up with a plan to make your life better by making your hearing better. Call Guam Hearing Doctors for an appointment or visit them on the web at guamhearingdoctors.com.
Half a day and good morning, Guam. News time here at The Point is 8 minutes past 8 a.m. this Friday morning. I'm Kevin Kerrigan. Here's a look now at some of the top stories from the Guam Daily Post. The gloves came off during a gubernatorial forum yesterday at the Sheraton, during which the two rivals competing to become the next governor of Guam traded barbs over the economy, conflicts of interest, and their upbringings. The Democratic nominee, Lulian Guerrero, launching the first salvo in response to a question about improving the island's economy. She accused the Calvo Tenorio administration of doubling Guam's debt and managing not to collect taxes to the tune of $200 million. Republican gubernatorial nominee Ray Tenorio called for a fact check, noting, as he has before, that the amount of recoverable taxes is $70 million, not $200 million. Tenorio then turned to Leon Guerrero and suggested she would have an innate conflict of interest if she were to become governor because of her position as board chair of the Bank of Guam, which has benefited from hundreds of millions of dollars in GovGuam funds on deposit in the bank. He asked Leon Guerrero whether she would allow that money to be put in other island banks if she were elected governor, rather than being conflicted by every GovGuam financial transaction. Leon Guerrero responded that the Bank of Guam has provided loans to island families so they can build homes, start businesses, and send their children to school. Then she reminded the audience that it was Tenorio who signed the controversial GovGuam pay raise legislation back in 2014, saying, "I never signed a law that gave me a pay raise. That is a blatant conflict of interest," she said. Meanwhile, the gubernatorial team that finished second in the August primary has posted a new video on their Facebook page suggesting they're about to jump back into the gubernatorial race as write-in candidates. Senator Frank Uggan Jr. and his running mate, former U.S. Attorney Alicia Lim Tiaco, posting a video yesterday titled "Setting the Record Straight, Part 1, indicating there's more to come. The message boils down to a defense of their decision not to fulfill the terms of the Democratic Party's unity pledge, and it hints at the possibility they're about to relaunch their campaign without explicitly saying so. Ken Leon Guerrero of Guam Citizens for Public Accountability told the Guam Daily Post that it sounds like they're agreeing to allow us to support them in our write-in campaign. Leon Guerrero and Andre Bainum of Guamanians for Fair Government launched an independent write-in campaign for Uggan Lim Tiaco last month. The Uggan Lim Tiaco team has already said they would not stand in the way of the write-in campaign. Senator Uggan has not responded to multiple calls for comment. We'll have more news after this.
It's important to have claims process that works for you. At Guahan Insurance Services, we make things simple and convenient. Same door you walk in to purchase your insurance is the same door you open to file your claim. We can't pretend that the car insurance claims process is fun, but we can promise a hassle-free and speedy recovery without any runarounds. For your home, auto, and business insurance, visit us at the Camacho Landmark Center on Marine Corps Drive in Tamuning. Don't forget to like us on Facebook or give us a call at 475-1162 or text 929-SAVE. That's 929-7283.
KFC has finally answered the world's most important question. What came first, the chicken or the egg? And the answer is both. Introducing KFC's KFC AM, their new Southern and local-inspired breakfast. AM-loaded platter with chicken fried rice, waffles, and Colonel's chicken congee. KFC also has your all-time favorites, AM chicken and egg wraps, Southern biscuit and sausage sandwich, and hash browns. So for finger-licking good mornings, AM will never be the same at KFC. KFC, it's finger-licking good.
11 minutes past 8 a.m. here at The Point. By a vote of 8-3, Guam lawmakers yesterday approved a measure that would allow qualified patients to grow their own medicinal marijuana under certain conditions. Senators James Espaldon, Talina Nelson, Dennis Rodriguez were the only senators to vote against the bill. Senators Frank Uggan Jr., Mike San Nicolas, and Mary Torres were absent yesterday. The bill was introduced by Senator Louise Munoz, who said she proposed it out of frustration with the lack of progress on the already existing law that was passed more than 4 years ago but yet to be implemented. Her bill, number 302, requires patients or their caregivers to obtain a permit to grow cannabis from the Department of Public Health. They can grow up to 12 juvenile plants and 6 flowering plants. The cannabis has to be grown inside under lock and key. Outside cultivation not permitted. Public health inspectors will be allowed to inspect the plants at the homes, but 24-hour notice must be given before they do that. The inspectors will also be permitted to seize any plants that exceed the permitted number. Guam Regional Medical City announcing its intention to suspend maternity and pediatric services. GRMC Chief Medical Officer Dr. Felix Cabrera explaining in a release that the private hospital has come to a critical juncture where we must refocus our limited resources. The date for full closure has not yet been decided, according to the release, but the statement says the closure of maternal and child health care services should take place before the end of this year. The release notes that maternity services are already available at Guam Memorial Hospital, and GRMC President and Chief Operating Officer Dr. Mike Cruz is quoted in the release as saying that the region's health challenges are too great with too limited resources to be operating redundant services that can potentially be consolidated, he said. Senator Dennis Rodriguez Jr., the chairman of the legislature's health committee, said GRMC's decision seems to be a positive move. He said each facility should define its own role, with GRMC becoming a specialty hospital and GMH concentrating on basic services like birthing babies. This is maybe a step in that direction, said the senator. It's going to be a win-win for both facilities and, in general, a win for the people of Guam as well. GMH Administrator Peter John Camacho could not be reached for comment. For these stories and more, log on to postguam.com or pick up a copy of today's Guam Daily Post. Ray and Mike now with weather.
Partly sunny today. Isolated showers and thunderstorms could be in the day's forecast. East to southeast winds 5 to 10 miles an hour. Daytime highs 89 degrees and overnight lows of about 77 degrees. Sunrise at 10 after 6 this morning, and we anticipate about the same time tomorrow. Sunset tonight 6:08, and the sun continues to be going down earlier and earlier as the nights are getting longer and longer.
That's right.
Not that there's anything wrong with that, because it's cooler at night than it is during the day. What the heck, man? Temps have been hot lately.
Yep, they just got lots of sunshine. We're passing what's known as our peak solar activity of the year. Of course, the sun passes over us and goes up to the 23rd parallel, and then at the solstice in June, and then works its way back down across us as it works towards the December solstice.
Right.
Has to cross directly over us twice, and we're just getting over that second direct crossover. So things are a little warm right now, but they should start to steadily kind of cool off just a little bit over time, but don't expect any major changes till about December.
Well, don't expect any major changes, period, because it's Guam. We've got a very narrow range of temperatures that we manage to live in most of the time.
That's true, but you know, last year, Ben, it was actually nature's way of celebrating celebrating the restart of the Ray Gibson Show. You know, we had a couple of really nice mornings when we kicked this show off in February last year.
We absolutely did.
There was some really, really nice weather. So hopefully we'll get some more of that this year.
Let's see what happens. We're going to be talking sports, lots of football to talk about, the pick'ems that are going to be going on this weekend, and some of the games to anticipate, and maybe some of the upsets that we might be able to look forward to, considering what a weird and wacky 4 weeks it's already been for this season of the NFL. 8:15, that's coming up here in the program. There's news and weather together right here on The Point.
Are high power bills sending your budget into chaos? Take control with the help of Micronesia Renewable Energy. Using the highest quality panels, a solar energy system from MRE will guarantee to save you money on power. With MRE, Christmas comes early. With every solar energy system, homeowners not only get $400 for signing up, but also an entry for a chance to win $1,000 in cold, hard cash, just in time for Christmas. It pays to be an MRE customer. Conditions apply. Call 632-2613 for details. MRE, the smarter choice.
I like beef tenactac. I like to cook it. I like to eat it, and I like to hear it, and I like to say it, because when I generally say beef tenactac, I'm talking about it being Friday. That's how we launch the weekend, kids, is a trip to the one they've got in Harmon or the one they got in Tamuning, and order up some beef tenactac. That's the big Friday special for lunch, waiting for you at King's.
One of the longest-running primary care clinics on Guam, the FHP Health Center, has been your convenient one-stop healthcare clinic for you and your family for many generations. FHP's highly trained and well-known medical, dental, and vision providers and their friendly clinical support team are here, ready to take care of you. In addition to the excellent care, FHP offers a full-service pharmacy, laboratory, radiology, and specialty care center in one location. FHP Health Center, our island, your clinic. Most insurance accepted, including Netcare, Aetna, and TRICARE.
All right, watch, kids, as I ad-lib my way through the sponsor announcements for the Ray Gibson Show. There are so many of them, and they all want me to say something clever about their businesses. Well, I'll see what I can do here. Portions of the program brought to you by American President Lines. They're shipping the future. Also, American Water Tech, smarter water, better water. Ask them about filtration. Ask them about soft water in your house to get rid of the calcium buildup. My friends over at Security Title, including, wait a second, I met a guy from Security, Chris, I think was his name. I don't know if I still got his business card on me. No, I don't have it. It's in the office. Anyway, my friends over at Security Title, I wasn't distracted. I was pondering something clever to say about Chris and Ron and Kim, who were hanging out with me. And wait a second. Now, see, I've started the shout-outs. I can't stop, right? And Catherine and Henna at last night's chamber mixer that was held at ANZ. ANZ's not paying for this, so I don't have to say anything clever about them, except I really like your bathrooms. All right, so where was I? I was American Water Tech Security Title, Guam Regional Medical City, the first choice for all of your open heart surgery needs, and who else? AK Lexus. Did you buy your new ES350? There's one now in your favorite color with all of the things that you need inside waiting for you at AK Lexus, as well as Micronesia Renewable Energy. Never been a better time to go solar, so give them a call today and find out how they can get the gizmos up on your roof tomorrow.
Ray Gibson brings you closer to the action. Any speaker, anytime. Morning talk that matters.
Yeah, we're talking about here. I got a note from my buddy Dennis J. Santo Tomas, who says tomorrow going to be a very, very big day. U.S. Supreme Court will be considering whether to grant review in the Segovia versus United States case, disenfranchisement of American citizens living here on Guam and in the other territories that, by virtue of geography, are incapable of casting a vote for the President of the United States of America, or having somebody in Congress that might be able to do a vote on the floor of that great hall. Anyway, 8:19 in the morning, and welcome back to the program. Excuse the mess. A couple of programming notes here. We are not on Facebook Live this morning because I broke it. Why? I don't know. I don't know what Mikey. Turn the microphone for this guy on so everybody can. I don't know what I did. I pressed the button.
Just turn it on.
I did. I pressed the button and it said that my login credentials are wrong. But I'm able to log in on everything else, all my other devices.
Sounds like meddling to me.
Yeah, yes, there's meddling kids. It could be. I don't know.
It's very fishy to me.
You know what? It's going to come down to probably rebooting something.
So we're Facebook-less Friday.
We're Facebook-less Friday, but we're also we
YouTube
are streaming to
Friday.
YouTube Live.
Right.
We've got a great. In fact, they tell me the video is much better on YouTube Live, and something about the bandwidth and all of that stuff.
Maybe it's not really down. Maybe this is an elaborate ruse from Ray to get all the traffic driven to YouTube Live.
I'd kind of like to get a lot of traffic on YouTube Live as well. Any speaker, anytime, any screen, anytime. That's the way this program works. There is one quirk about YouTube Live that is taking me a second to get to decide what I want to do. Is like on Facebook, when we're done with the broadcast, it becomes a video on demand, and you can scroll through the entire 4 hours. On YouTube, if I make it a video on demand, I've got to wait for, I don't know, some say as much as 24 hours for the entire 4 hours to be available. So if you go to YouTube Live at 10:15 this morning, you'll be able to catch the show, but only the last 2 hours.
Last couple hours.
Yeah, until they're done publishing it. I don't know. Like I said, it's a quirky thing, and that's way too much inside radio. Let's get inside sports with Blake. God, I love doing that.
One of these days, you're going to be out of breath doing that.
No, never happened.
That's right. You're a runner.
Sometimes I like to do that. I like to talk and just keep going and not breathing until I'm dizzy.
You ever get little white shinies in your eyes?
You ever get that like that stumble when you just can't get it out? So you ever just give up, or do you fight through it? When you're like, hey, never mind.
Sometimes.
Forget it.
Depends on my mood.
Just forget it.
No, I fight through it. Like last hour, I was trying to remember the word barista.
Yeah,
really? I will not give up. The word will come to me.
Barista. That's easier to say than rural juror.
The reason why I brought up the word barista is because there's that survey they do at 76 Circle K around election time. They've got the sleeves, right? So they got the loose sleeves, they got the race sleeves, and then they've got the write-in sleeves,
which is obviously a silhouette of the
Frank,
right. Yeah.
Oh, that's Frank's silhouette. I thought it was Alicia's.
But they should give the Facebook silhouette where it's just a generic round, like round head with the shoulders. Like it's just clearly nobody. Just
that's what I look like in real life.
Or like the Skype, the Skype silhouette.
So but the thing is, I got the theory that I have is the reason why Ray is coming in third place on that has nothing to do with the gun grab, has nothing to do with the court case. It's the fact that Republicans don't buy coffee from the gas station. They go to the cafes. I'll meet you at the cafe, and the barista will pour me some espresso.
Well, they're not using Keurigs. Wasn't it Republicans that took to the Keurigs and started burning all their Keurigs and stuff? So you'd think that they would be.
So Mark Cruz writes in this morning. He sent me an image on Skype of his Keurig closet. He's got and so I've got a Keurig here at the office, right? We got the thing here at the office.
That's how we all get our coffee in the morning.
I buy the
one cup at a time,
cheapest coffee that comes in a Keurig deal that I can find over Pay Less or Cost You Less.
We have the same coffee. You have the K cups. I have it in bag form.
Right, and so I've got the that's what I put in there when I'm done with the coffee that I brought from home. So there might be something to that where you've got the Republicans who are either going to the cafe or they're going to be taking advantage of their Keurig devices for all of their coffee needs, not necessarily participating in that survey. But we'll watch and we'll see what happens. And by the way, it's another version of sports around here that is election season, and it looks like Frank Uggan and Alicia are going to be putting together a campaign, a write-in.
I love it. I like chaos in anything. Like I like when really, like I like when when Alabama goes all the way through their college football year and they lose the last game. I like it when, I just like chaos. I'm just one of those kind of people. So I'm here for all the insanity.
Yeah. Oh, speaking of insanity, no, I'm not going to say it. I was looking at a post from somebody. I probably shouldn't say on the air. 8:24 in the morning. We've got a lot of football that we've got to get through. So let's sexy this thing up and keep it going as crispy at a crisp pace.
And we will. But before we get in this, I just want to give a disclaimer to everybody in case you are having like me, like last week. I thought I was doing well in the standings on our pick'ems. I am not. because I didn't play. You're all welcome. I didn't play last week, apparently.
Oh.
I didn't save my picks.
I was wondering why that was looking like that.
So, yeah, if you saw me, like, if you go to my week 4, I didn't pick anything, even though I did. I guess I picked it all, and I didn't actually hit save.
I hate when that happens.
I think what happened is I picked my winners, and I didn't go and add the confidence points.
Oh, okay.
You know, I was going to go back and do it later, and I just never went back, and so it just erased it all.
It will give you a point for each correct pick when you do that, but it won't give you the bonus of the confidence points.
Well, I'm good now. I've set them all before I even got in this morning. So whenever you're ready, I'm ready.
Okay, well, let's talk a little bit about the Pro Football Pick'em standings right now. DeRocca leads everybody 340 points. That's a pretty significant lead. Second place, BRJ Guam with 314 points. In third, Multiple Scoregasms at 296. Killer Bees in fourth at 288, and I'm in fifth place at 280. I actually lead in correct picks, 38-23, but DeRocca's only one behind me, and he's actually done a better job, he or she has actually done a better job of applying those points.
Did you say multiple scoregasms?
That's Brad.
That's Brad.
That's Brad.
Yeah.
That's Brad's
So he's
team
doing
name.
pretty well.
Multiple Scoregasms.
All right, so let's go into the games this weekend because there's a lot of games and we only have so much time. Got Patriots hosting the Colts.
Do we even have to?
No, we really don't.
Really?
And I actually gave that one. I gave that one all of my confidence points.
Yeah.
So yeah, I got the Patriots there. Let's see. This coming up Monday now. We got Buffalo hosting Tennessee.
I took Tennessee.
I did as well. Bengals hosting the Dolphins.
Miami, I think to bounce back.
Okay, I went Bengals because they're at home. Ravens at the Browns.
Very rare orange battle, by the way. Both those teams are predominantly orange, so it's going to be interesting to see. I picked the Ravens against the Browns. I don't think Cleveland's there yet.
Yeah, I don't think so, but they're in a couple of years. They might be something to be dealt with. Packers at the Lions.
Packers. Just can't see.
No. Chiefs hosting the Jaguars.
Chiefs all day.
That's going to probably be their biggest challenge so far this year, though.
Well, no, because they do play the Rams in November.
Well, I'm just saying so far.
Yeah, it'll be their biggest divisional, or you know what I mean? Like conference challenge for sure,
Absolutely. Broncos at the Jets.
And the Broncos all day.
Yes, sir. Falcons at the Steelers.
I think Pittsburgh is in disarray, and again, just because I love chaos, I am praying that this is the beginning of the end for that one. So give me whoever they're playing. Atlanta.
All right, now here's my thinking with this one. I have lost all faith in the Steelers after they've started 1-2-1 on the season, but Roethlisberger leads quarterbacks in yards. Falcons have absolutely zero defense, and I think that matters at home this week. I picked the Steelers. Panthers hosting the Giants.
I took the Panthers, but it could go either way. It could be a tie, honestly. That game could be our tie of the week if you want to pick it, because they're both equally, but they could, they could surprise you on offense, both teams.
Right on. Okay. Raiders at the Chargers.
I picked the Raiders. I think it's time. They're defeated. They haven't won a single game, and the Chargers, I mean, there's a reason why they just kind of lingered in, obscurity for the last few seasons. They're just okay, so they can lose a game like this.
Right on. Okay, I went the opposite of that. I did pick the Chargers on this one. Eagles hosting Vikings.
I take the Vikings because I hate the Eagles.
Okay, I took the Eagles because I at home, and they've actually outperformed what many thought they would have, even so far into the season. So I think maybe there's something there. San Francisco hosting the Cardinals.
Worst game of the week. I picked the Cardinals because I have to pick somebody.
Okay, I picked 49ers only because it's at home.
Okay.
Rams at the Seahawks.
Rams.
Yeah, I think Rams.
That's my Super Bowl pick. I can't go against them.
Now I'm going to skip the next game because.
Wait, already?
Going into the season, I picked Chiefs Rams in the Super Bowl.
There you go.
So I'm going with them all year.
Now the Monday night game is Saints hosting the Redskins.
It's again tough. I picked the Saints.
Yeah.
Because I don't like Washington, for rivalry reasons, but I also think those teams are pretty evenly matched, and I think it's just going to be a shootout, and I don't think that Washington can match Drew Brees. Drew Brees can't stop anybody on defense, but they can put up points. So I don't know that Washington can.
And I think our thought
or at
process,
least, because you're going to have to score at least 30, to keep up with the Saints, I think, and that's hard to do.
And my thought process is exactly the same as yours. Now, the only game that really matters to you and I this week, because it's our teams.
Have you seen this, Ray? This is a big week for us.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, we're leaving at 10 on Monday morning because we got to go to the bar and watch the game. It's the Texans hosting the Cowboys.
It's a showdown for Texas, the Lone Star Showdown.
And both teams basically sucked this year.
They're equally as terrible, and this only happens once every 5 years?
5 years.
I think once every 5 years this game will happen. So Houston versus Dallas.
I appreciate the heads up. So where are we going on Monday?
Wherever you want.
Yeah. We have your permission.
What's
So
open?
wherever they got a big screen TV.
Yeah, I know.
And
That's
don't mind
true. What's
screaming,
open?
because he and I are going to be screaming, and not at each other's teams.
That might actually be fun. We might want to push off the rest of the day.
Yeah, it's going to be a blast.
Okay, all right.
Who you got?
So, who do I have?
Yeah.
Well, come on. Okay. I'm gonna break my bid up because I have to choose one of them. And I told you last week I'm not picking your team anymore because I picked them for the first 3 weeks and
But
they let
you
me
said
down.
you weren't going to pick your team anymore either.
And I said we're gonna pick them all season, but I got to pick somebody. I know. So I figured since I know you're going to pick Houston, I'm going to pick Dallas, and that way we can make it fun for everybody who is watching from the outside in.
Right on, makes sense. So there you go. Those are your picks. So
I
you
gave
guys
them
get your
13
picks
points,
in.
by the way, just for
Wait,
fun.
Boris says Raiders have one win.
Do they?
It's what Boris said. Boris is always right.
Oh,
maybe they won last week. Hang on, let me take a look.
He's like Brad.
I think they did.
I never get into scrap with him because he's always
Here, let me
always
look.
correct.
Did they win their first one?
I think they won last week. This thing is taking forever to open up.
It says that they are 4-1. Oh, come on. It says that they are.
You just can't trust him.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Dallas versus Houston happens every 4 years.
4 years. Yeah. Okay. Okay. 4 years.
That's another Boris. And again,
is it? Okay.
he's always right.
Well, the reason is because the reason that we say it happens every once in a while is because interesting, Ray. Just for the casual fan, we can explain this to you. Is that so Dallas is in the NFC, Texans are in the AFC. So every year, like let's say the NFC East, every year it revolves. So the NFC East for one whole year, when they play the AFC teams, they'll only play 4, and they'll play every AFC team from a certain division. So this year, the NFC East, all those teams are playing all the AFC South teams. Yeah. So not only will the Cowboys have to play the Texans, so will all of their division rivalries. The Eagles will have to play Houston. Washington will have to play Houston, blah, 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 blah.
This is, it's like when people give me directions. I'm lost after.
Your
Go
eyes
down the road
glazed
for
over.
a half a mile. Yeah. And then what? Why don't you just get in the car with me?
By the way, Boris, I mean, he is technically right.
Yeah, Raiders did win last week.
But you beat the Browns. Yeah. So do you really count that as a win?
That's just evil. All right. What else I got here? 8:31 in the morning. The only game that I'm concerned about is the Father Duenas homecoming tonight, only because I have a small part to play in what I'm going to call a Duenas victory.
Okay, go
Right?
ahead. That's a good bet, and I wouldn't disagree with you.
Yep. So that's where
They
I'm
haven't
going to be.
lost in like 37 years or something, right?
Well, it's 70 years. 70. The school is 70 years old. Simon graduated in like 74. I graduated in 80.
This will be their third full season that they haven't lost. So they haven't lost in 2 seasons.
So that's what I'm going to be doing tonight.
I remember the last time they lost. I think it was a championship game to GW, I believe.
8:32 in the morning, and I think that's all the time that we have for anything that feels like sports, unless you've got a couple of other big games that are going on here. IIAG.
I don't. I just wanted to put out the I guess the announcement that the IIAG girls volleyball playoff action quarterfinals will start this weekend tonight, all around the island at 6. And then, like Ray said, the last games of the IIAG football regular season are this weekend, and got confirmation that they are looking towards the postseason next week. So next Friday we'll start the IIAG football high school playoffs.
All right, and one other thing that I discovered last night at the Chamber Mixer at ANZ is people actually do read the "Hello, my name is" name tags that the people hand out.
Would you put a fake name on there? And
Lieutenant Governor Ray Tenorio.
Did you really?
Yeah, I really did, and because I kind of wanted to see what the reaction was going to be for most people.
I always go with Ron. This is an interesting sports tie too. I always go with Ron Mexico, which was the name that Mike Vick gave the Miami-Dade airport when he got busted with pot a few years ago. Mm-hmm. He was like, "Oh, my name's Ron Mexico." It's like, no, it's not. You're clearly Michael Vick.
That is funny.
So that's always my fake name, Ron Mexico.
Try that the next time. It's 8:33 in the morning. You figure, why do they? I'm sorry. The presumption is that most people, when I go someplace, have an inkling of who I am.
You should know who you are.
Don't bother with the name tags, but when I do, I like to have a good time.
That happened to me weirdly enough over the weekend. I just got to say this. If you see me out and I don't know you, I just want to let you know, and you catch me off guard, if you just walk up without saying anything or introducing yourself and shake my hand like I'm supposed to know you, and I give you a really weird look, it's because I don't know you.
Yeah.
That happened to me over the weekend. This guy.
That's what I tell people is, I drink a lot, so you probably forgot.
This guy who he's known, you know what I mean? I mean, he's not a senator. He's not a politician, but it would be like if a politician came up to, like, first time I ever met Mike Nicholas, he just came up to me and started talking to me.
Yeah.
And, you know, and I guess I was like, oh, maybe you recognize me from sports or, you know, on the radio.
But you didn't know who he was?
Yeah. So we just started talking, but we never actually got introduced. It was like, hi, I'm Blake. Hi, I'm Mike Nicholas. Hi, nice to meet you. You know, clearly know who each other are. No. This guy came up to me in the parking lot of a Payless, just shook my hand and walked away. And I was like, well, I know who he is, but, like, what was that about?
Yes, your vote?
No, he wasn't a politician. Like I said, it was a
regular guy.
Yeah, it was a regular guy.
Anyway, so have fun with that the next time somebody hands you a thing that says, hello, my name is. Put down a fake name, mess around with your name, Ron Mexico, Lieutenant Governor Ray Tenorio. They all work, and people will actually look at those. Another name that we got to do here is I got to get some news with Kevin Kerrigan. That's going to be coming up after these.
UFC 229 on Sunday, October 7th. The notorious Conor McGregor returns to retake the UFC lightweight title from unbeaten champion Khabib Nurmagomedov in the main event of UFC 229. Pre-show starts at 10 a.m. and the fight starts at noon. Use your remote or call 688-CARE to order this pay-per-view event on Channel 401 or in HD on Channel 402. UFC 229 on Docomo Pacific is brought to you by TGI Fridays.
Always come up with some kind of a sign. It's 8:35 in the morning, and the sign I'm talking about is from time to time, and this happens more often than you think, is somebody will come up to me and we'll begin to talk, and I will realize about 2 seconds in I have no idea who I'm talking to. And the agreement that I have with virtually every woman that I have ever been with in my life is at some point, and I won't tell you what it is because this might actually happen to us, is I will make a sign to her, which will indicate to her that I don't know who I'm talking to, and please introduce herself to the person that I don't know who I'm talking to. Like I said, I can't show you the sign now. We'll have to make private arrangements for all of that. It's 8:36 right now on The Point, and time to find out what the big stories are for his last broadcast of the week. Here's Kevin Kerrigan with headlines.
Half a day and good morning, Guam. In the headlines from the Guam Daily Post this morning, Doris Flores Brooks, the Republican candidate for the Guam delegate seat, says she would seek congressional approval for the Chamorro Land Trust Commission if elected. The CLTC currently being sued by the U.S. Justice Department, which claims that the act is racially biased. During a forum at the Sheraton yesterday, Brooks said it's important for the CLTC to be congressionally sanctioned in order to protect it from that lawsuit. She pointed out that indigenous land rights have been recognized on other island communities, pointing to Hawaii and the CNMI. Her Democratic opponent for Congress, Senator Mike San Nicolas, did not attend that forum yesterday because of illness, but he did issue a statement saying Guam should be cautious about how it proceeds on land issues. He said the only constitutional protection afforded to Native peoples and their lands is tribal recognition. Any other act would lack constitutional surety and be subject to future challenges, said Senator San Nicolas. The Office of the Attorney General has now confirmed that it will investigate alleged disclosure law violations by the People for Progress Political Action Committee. The decision to investigate follows a receipt of a letter from the Guam Election Commission informing the Attorney General that People for Progress had failed to file campaign finance reports in violation of Guam election law. People for Progress originally registered as a political action committee with the GEC, but now claims it's not a committee anymore and not subject to disclosure requirements. However, in 2016, they did file a financial disclosure statement revealing they had raised $116,000 at that time, and they reported paying for an ad featuring Lieutenant Governor Ray Tenorio before Tenorio had declared his candidacy for governor. Stonewall Middle School placed on lockdown yesterday after a riot broke out between a group of students. It happened about 1 o'clock in the afternoon. Guam police were called to the campus. A release from the Guam Department of Education says about 10 students were involved. Their parents were all called, and 2 attendance officers were dispatched to the school to find out exactly what happened. The statement from Guam Department of Education says they're not aware of any weapons being involved in that ruckus. It's not clear whether any of the students were injured. For these stories and more, log on to postguam.com or pick up a copy of today's Guam Daily Post.
Yeah, that's a good idea. 20 away from 9 o'clock in the morning, and you need to call 888-8888 and find out about why iConnect is the practical choice. I don't think you ought to be paying any more than you absolutely have to on things like push-to-talk and mobile and internet plans. So, again, 888-8888, and they'll pick up the phone and say, off a day, iConnect.
Taste the sizzle at Chili's with our new fajita flavors. Our signature fajitas are served with sliced bell peppers, caramelized onions, topped with chipotle garlic butter, and chopped cilantro. Build your fajita with over 16 ounces of tender grilled chicken, juicy steak, and a dozen pieces of seasoned grilled shrimp in the family fajita trio. All served with warm flour tortillas and fresh toppings like mixed cheese, guacamole, salsa, and pico de gallo. Experience bold, sizzling fajita flavors only at Chili's. More life happens here.
Hot pastrami. That's what you're going to find when you go to the nearest Subway location. They got 14 of them around town, and you can go in and get virtually any sandwich you want to because they have all of the fixings. But the important thing to remember is that for a limited time, they've got hot pastrami sandwiches, pastrami-style meat. Stick it on whatever bread you like. Put it your favorite condiments and toppings on that, and then go away a very, very happy customer. So find out more about that by swinging by the nearest Subway. What kind of traffic is it? It's not, but considering it's Friday, I mean, it really could be worse out there. Got a little bit of traffic that's beginning to slow down in the southern parts of Jigo and the northern parts of Dededo. Just kind of that area between, I want to say over by Prestige Auto. A little bit of a slowdown on some traffic over on Fatima, and then we've got a line of traffic that is working in between the, where is that? This Dead Man's Curve? In and around that area, we're looking at a little bit of slowing down on the traffic. 19 away from the top of the hour. That, my friends, is right now traffic here on The Point. Coming up, we'll spend a little bit of time. Chris Duanis, we're going to get him back on a telephone and talk about these modular homes. And interested to find out what Dr. Tom Shea has got to say about the changes that they are working on over at Guam Regional Medical City and how that might work out for Guam Memorial Hospital. In 19 minutes, it'll be 9 o'clock.
Please stay tuned for an important message from KFC's Colonel Sanders.
Howdy! I'm back with something new for the people of Guam. KFC's new pickle fried chicken. A different KFC fried chicken experience. Straight from the States. Get a 9-piece family meal with 3 live sides and 4 biscuits, or try our pickle crispy strips with 2 regular sides in a $5 box. Hurry to KFC today and try the new KFC pickle fried chicken. KFC, it's finger licking good.
8:42 in the morning, Ray Gibson Show until it's not going to be anymore as we ramp our way into what is going to be, I think it's going to be a biblical weekend. There's a ton of stuff going on. A couple of fundies that are going on tonight. Hyatt's got a wine fest that virtually everyone I know is going to be at, so it's possible that you might also find me lurking around the Hyatt at some point. We've got Strides for the Cure tomorrow, and that's going to be not in Tumon this time. They're doing it over at Chamorro Village, and I can't remember which direction they're going to be going into, but it's a 5K, and it's going to be flat and fast, and you're going to love it. So we got that going on, and fire prevention. Week, month, day, year. What Pascual Robles in the studio this morning, and so tell me a little bit about the fire prevention deal that we've got.
Okay, so every year.
Welcome to the program.
Thank you.
It's good to have you here.
Thank you.
We
Thank
got
you, Ray.
Chad Adda is in here.
Firefighter 1. Chad Adda.
Oh, Firefighter 1.
Yes.
That means you're the best.
Strive to be the best.
Striving to be the best. And Cam Pareda. From Guam Fire as well. Great to have all of you in the studio, and thrilled to talk about and to help out because I'm nuts about first responders. So whatever I can do for the fire department, the answer is always going to be yes. So what you got coming up?
So next week is Fire Prevention Week. So every year on the week of during the week of October 9th, we have a Fire Prevention Week to get the word out to the public about fire safety, and also to commemorate the Great Chicago Fire of 1871, which happened on.
I didn't do that.
It happened on October 8th, in the evening of October 8th, and it burned all the way through to October 10th, and that was in 1871. So 50 years later, in 1922, the National Fire Protection Association started to be the official sponsor for Fire Prevention Week. And then a few years later, in 1925, President Calvin Coolidge proclaimed it as a national day or week of observance. And so since then, it's been the longest running public health observance in our nation.
That is interesting. I mean, I like the history behind all of this. And you think about the way things were over 100 years ago. I mean, if there was a fire in a building sufficient, it could spread like a cold in the family. And before you knew it, an entire section of the city. In fact, many cities, Chicago, Seattle, among them, San Francisco, are built on the ruins, basically, of buildings that had either crumbled in an earthquake or got devoured by fire.
So that was a big fire. They 3.3 square miles burned in that fire, and I apologize to the public because yesterday on the Albert One interview I said 3.3 million square miles, and then I thought about it and I was like, I must have misread something. So it was 3.3 square miles.
Big fire.
Yeah.
What are the records for fires on Guam? Tell me about some of the fires that you have fought in your life. House fires, kitchen fires.
We respond to a lot of unattended cookings where, thankfully, when we get there, it's usually just smoke damage done because the fire's just confined to the kitchen area. Sometimes the cabinet will burn, and sometimes, if it's been not reported, it'll burn the whole house down.
I was passing by a friend's house in Salan Peperu in Totu a few years ago, and saw an outdoor kitchen that was just crazy on fire, and the guy's mother running around like in a kind of a panic. So I pulled over and said, "Where is your hose?" and started to look over. I knew I couldn't put it out with a garden hose, but at least I could hold it at bay until the fire department got there. And she says, "The hose is over there, boy. It's right next to the LP gas." And I thought, maybe I don't want to be a part of this particular rescue effort, but between me and another neighbor, we managed to keep everything, keep our heads together, and help prevent much more loss, and certainly maybe even loss of life with an explosion and things like that. So the scary things can happen in fire. I was talking with Mike the other day about the different ways that I didn't want to die, and dying in a fire is certainly one of them. So when we start talking about fire prevention, it's not just a question of loss of property or getting some smoke damage in the house. People die in fires. Right. So that's why it's always important to have kind of an action plan here. So who's the target of this year's outreach, Chad? Who is it that you're going to be trying to educate?
We're trying to reach out to the public in general. We want to reach out to kids mostly, I'm assuming, because we have a lot of activities that are catering to kids.
Start them early.
So, that's our most precious resource.
Right. Yeah. Start them young, teach them young. And so this weekend is actually going to be the...
Yeah, me and my brother, when we were kids, we were really bad around matches and fire. Yeah, just little pyrotechnical animals.
I think all of us are.
Really? That was a very enthusiastic, Wait a second, that's the last thing I expected to hear from a girl. Did you like to play with matches when you were a kid?
Not me.
No.
But that's one of the leading causes of fires, wildfires.
She's new school. She probably played with the big lighter. We're old school.
Zippo lighter.
Zippo. The statute of limitations has run out, but me and Johnny burned down a house in Tamuning when we were kids.
Wow. Did you?
Yeah. Wow. Oh, yeah. Well, nobody lived in there. We don't think. But we were in there. We were trying to smoke comic books, and the flame got away from us. And about 2 minutes later, because it happens fast with fire.
Very
fast, you don't realize it. You turn your back on it, and then all of a sudden, whoosh, everything is up. But it was fun to watch the fire department come and try to put the thing out. I remember that being kind of a crazy thing. So yes, that's why we start with kids.
Right.
Yeah.
Correct.
And then now, is there going to be a particular outreach event? Are you going to be at a shopping center or bring everything out?
I'll let Miss Cam.
Well, actually, our events will start today. We're going to have a motorcade from Agania Heights Mayor's office. That'll start at 10:30.
Okay, nobody's standing in the back of the truck or the Jeep.
No.
Okay.
Then we're going to proceed to Ada Loop, where we'll do the proclamation signing at 11 o'clock. And that'll be our local and federal departments, fire departments, along with some of our public, how do you say it, sponsors.
We have sponsors?
Yes, we do.
We
Yes,
should
we
mention
do.
them. Let's make sure we mention them. I love it when people come out and financially, monetarily support things like this. So go ahead.
Okay, so we have Falcon Fire Protection. We have Phoenix Pacific Guam, also Firecom. Black Construction actually donates the billboards that we use for our billboard competition.
Oh, neat.
So, yeah, I'm not sure how long they've been donating, but for as long as I can remember, they've been donating the
Somebody tell me about the billboard competition in a second. That sounds new and different and interesting.
Actually, we've had that for a couple of years now. So Black Construction donates the plyboards, and each station gets a board, and then also Navy participates, Anderson and ARF.
ARF Airport. Yes.
They paint a mural onto the board based on the theme of the year, and we.
Is there a winner? Do we have a winner yet? Has that
No,
been
we
announced?
don't. So Sunday is actually the judging. Well, we actually have a judging panel, and then we also have a People's Choice. So the public can actually come down. The voting will start at 10 o'clock. We actually close the voting around
So where's this going to
noon.
be?
Again, your shopping center.
Okay, all right. And now there'll be other displays and things like that,
Yes.
right? Okay,
Yes,
perfect.
this is I'm sorry. This is at the Micronesian Mall.
Okay.
Correction. So Sunday, actually, I'll make Chad talk about it because he actually
Chad, she's making you talk about
he
it. Yes.
coordinated the mall event.
It was a collaborative effort.
Collaborative effort, but he was the mastermind behind this particular event.
So it's going to be this Sunday, 10 to 2, and we're going to have the billboard contest, like Miss Cammie was stating.
I'm sorry, it's the mastermind. He's an ADA, for heaven's sakes. Of course, it's mastermind.
No. It was a collaborative effort.
Right on.
So we're going to have a ton of games going on. We have these event passports that we made. So when each, at the static display, we're going to have Navy, Anderson, GFD, ARF, Forestry's going to have their truck. So each of them are going to have their static displays, and then the kids can actually bring their passports around and get a stamp.
Get a stamp.
Yeah, so if they get all of their stamps, they're going to get a prize. We're going to have a bunch of prizes put together
Give
for
you
the kids.
a fire truck or something like that?
I wish we could. But, some incentive,
Yeah, kids love the prizes. and
Yeah.
stuff.
Well, I'm crazy about all of this stuff. Reaching out to, and I think hitting the right people and in the right place. Micronesia Mall, and it's always busy on the weekend. And so if you're going to be around there heading to the movies, doing some kind of shopping, buying skinny pants or something like that, then, because I think Macy's has a sale too as well. And there's always Ross. So if you're heading into that direction, make sure you stop by the center court area and spend some time looking at some of this stuff. I mean, I tell you what, the fire truck and the different kind of gear that you have to put out fires and to rescue people, also very, very important, is always something very interesting for me to look at and see just kind of what kind of technology you guys get to play around with. And it changes, doesn't it?
Yes, it does.
Yeah, I mean, you're old school. You remember back in the old days, you got somebody that's injured, just pick them up, throw them over your shoulder, and haul it to the ambulance, right? Now we've got braces and little
Yeah, we've
beds
come a
that you
long
go
way.
into. Yeah.
You mentioned earlier that nobody's going to be riding in the back. That's been phased out. They don't do it anymore.
No more?
That's too dangerous for firefighters.
So we've
to
got the
ride in
whole
back.
cab, the huge cab on the inside, because that's where the cooler is. By the way, just FYI. I know people in the fire department business. There's other things that the fire department does in addition to having outreach programs like this and talking about fire. But there's different ways of fire preventions, inspections at businesses and warehouses and things like that. So will you have somebody on hand at the event on Sunday to talk about some of those things as well?
Oh, sure. We're going to have all kinds of booths with different fire departments, and they're going to give information about fire safety in the home. And feel free to ask questions, anything you have that's fire related.
Right.
We're going to have representatives from all the departments here on Guam: Anderson, Navy, GFD.
So, talking about fire prevention, obviously the things that we're going to be telling the kids that are important: don't play with matches, and don't leave the food unattended while you're cooking, candles and lights at Christmas time and things like that. Those are all very, very important. But I'm thinking about the adult listeners and viewers of the program here this morning. What message do you want to kind of convey to them about fire prevention and fire safety?
Well.
And other than the things that we've
as
been
you
drilled in when we were kids.
Right as you were saying that, an idea popped up in my head. And, kids learn by example.
Mm-hmm.
So, if you're a parent and you have children, practice good fire safety in front of them and teach them not to play with matches or lighters. And because they learn by example.
Yes, exactly, and there's opportunities, teaching moments that you can have with the kids virtually all the time here on Guam. I'm thinking in my head about barbecues, right? Great opportunities there to teach kids about safe fire handling and fire prevention while you're actually cooking. And every once in a while, my brother, will deep fry a turkey. Nice, right?
That's a dangerous one.
Which is that is a very dangerous activity, right?
And you know why it is, right?
There's
the water and the oil.
Acronym.
No, when they throw it in frozen.
It's called Believe, I believe.
Levy.
BL.
Boiling liquid.
Actually, I have to. I learned that 2 days ago.
Really?
Yes, my boyfriend actually is the safety manager up at Joint Region, and he was putting his slides together. And there
I've
was
seen video.
That was
disasters.
BLVE. I'm not sure what it stands for.
Boiling liquid, expanding vapor explosion.
Right. So it's, I think I understand the concept behind it. You've got the very, very hot oil on the inside, and then you've got the bird that has got some moisture in it and is cold.
Right, and they'll throw it in, and these guys don't thaw it out fully.
You're supposed to thaw it out and let it.
That's an
not be
explosion.
so cold.
It's a disaster.
Let the water drain out.
Yeah, it's an absolute disaster, and there's some very, very cool videos floating around on YouTube.
Yes,
to
I
watch
saw
some
that
of
one. Yeah,
and it will literally blow your mind when you watch that kind of thing. One of the other things that I've found to be kind of from a pyromaniac perspective, kind of exciting is watching Christmas trees go up. It's amazing how quickly they will catch, and then you've got a big bright flame because I guess a lot of oils and fuel inside the in the tree.
Those pine trees, they'll burn even green.
And they'll burn. That's right. They'll burn green.
But when they're dry and there's no more moisture in them, I know what you're talking
Yeah,
about.
and so again, these are opportunities that most adults will be able to have with their kids, with young people, so that they can practice fire safety and drill this into their kids in case there's not a fireman standing by. Are you guys getting a lot of calls these days about green waste fires?
Yes, there's a ongoing issue
Because I know
about
I'm
that.
supposed to. If I'm going to burn green waste, I have to go to the station near the house and get permission from the guy.
Yes, so
and
what
that's
they'll
just so he
do
knows.
is they'll actually come out to your property on the truck. They'll inspect what you're going to burn, inspect if it's in a safe area, and if it's they'll only let you burn green waste. They won't let you burn household trash. And they'll inspect it, and if they deem it safe, they'll grant you a permit. But
how often does that happen?
It actually happens quite often.
Does it? Okay, because in a neighborhood where I'm living, there's somebody burning something pretty much every day.
Yeah, so I was just going to mention that. So if we do give you a permit, a lot of people burn without permits to begin with.
Yeah.
And we get a lot of calls. We call it unauthorized controlled burning. And we respond out. We go out there. We tell them to put it out. Now, if they have sometimes we go out there and they said, oh, but I have a permit. Now, even if we issue a permit, if a neighbor downwind from you calls and says the smoke is bothering me, Nana has asthma, she's on a respirator, we'll come out there and we'll make them put it.
Put my clothes out on the line to dry, and now it's going to smell like your trash. Just a couple of minutes left in the hour here. What are we missing here? What are some of the things that you wanted to talk about that I haven't gotten to yet?
So to close off our Fire Prevention Week events, we're going to have a finale at the Agana Shopping Center.
Right.
That will feature entertainment, games.
We have Joe Blum?
No, we actually have Annette and Gev Pago.
Just as good?
Yes.
Nice.
And then we also have a Jaws of Life demonstration. That
Nice.
will start at 11:30.
I need one of those.
That's going to be an awesome demo.
Yeah, that's going to be a really good demo to watch.
There's so many different. See, I was saying, I wanted to at some point talk about the different toys that you guys have to play with that you get to train on and actually use in order to save lives. A very dramatic name for the gear, the Jaws of Life.
Yeah.
But basically, big pair of hydraulic pliers, man, and shears that you can basically open anything up with.
Absolutely.
As I say, I need that.
I think we all do.
Yeah.
I need that in my toolkit. So that's it again, your shopping center at the end of Fire Prevention Week.
Yes, and that's on October 13th.
Mm-hmm.
You can also visit our Guam Fire Department website. We actually have the flyer up there in case anybody missed the dates and times.
Perfect.
Can I mention something real quick? We didn't go into the one on Sunday, the opening event. We're also going to have the Red Horse Squadron come, and they're going to rappel down from the rafters up above the assembly area and the mall. So that'll be cool to watch. And then we're also going to have Skip, the Skip kids are going to come and perform.
Award-winning, world-famous
Yes,
champion
exactly,
dancers. Yes, the Skip performing group is going to be there as well. Now, the rappelling thing, do you still get a chance to do that every once in a while?
No, not at this stage in my career, but at one point in my career, I was on the rescue unit, and we did a lot of rappelling.
What about you, Chad? Have you done your share?
I mean, I'm looking forward to getting some training and learnings. I have a long way to
No,
go.
I don't.
What?
No.
Why not?
I'm actually an emergency medical dispatcher.
Oh,
Yeah,
I
I'm not
see, I see. So you don't get to go out in the field with the guys?
No.
Every once in a while?
I get to watch them.
Can you do ride-alongs with them? You do that program, right? You can do ride-alongs?
Yeah, we do ride-alongs.
Okay, all right. Because otherwise, it's just hanging out at the shop, right? Waiting for the alarm to go off.
Training.
It sounds like crazy fun. If you want to learn more about this, an ample number of opportunities to get with the Guam Fire Department and their allied resources in the next few days for Fire Prevention Week. Chad, Ada, thanks very much for coming to the studio this morning. And Cam Pareda, also hanging out with me on this morning's broadcast, and PJ Robles. Good to have you here, Pasquale. And as she says, you want more information, hit the website, and we'll see if we can stick up a link somewhere on YouTube Live this morning. 9 a.m. The radio station is KUSG. Gotten you. Chris Duane is actually in the building. We'll talk with him about modular homes and that experience. And it's not the same modular homes as the ones that we grew up with. They look like bus stops. Now they've got these things as concrete and metal and insurable and bank loanable. More on that in the next hour of the Ray Gibson Show here on The Point.
Battle over a high court seat. I'm Rich Dennison, Fox News. Protesters filled the Hart Senate offices today and Supreme Court building, demonstrating against and for Supreme Court nominee Brett Kavanaugh. The Senate is preparing for a procedural vote tomorrow morning on Kavanaugh's nomination. That would set up a final confirmation vote for sometime Saturday. In advance of the vote, senators have been filing through a secure facility in the Capitol, reviewing the latest FBI report into allegations of sexual misconduct against Judge Kavanaugh brought by several women. Senate Judiciary Chair Chuck Grassley expressing optimism Kavanaugh will be seated as a Supreme Court justice.
I feel very good about where this nomination is right now. Now, I don't say that from the standpoint of counting votes. I say that from the standpoint of the qualifications of this candidate.
Senate Democratic leader Chuck Schumer still unconvinced Kavanaugh should be confirmed.
I disagree with Senator Grassley's statement that there was no hint of misconduct.
Several Republicans are still undecided, raising questions whether Senate leadership has yet pulled together enough support for the president's pick for the high court. President Trump was asked by reporters in Minnesota how the judge's confirmation was going.
I think he's doing very well. I think he's doing very well. The judge is doing well.
The president is holding another campaign rally tonight in Rochester, Minnesota for Republican candidates. The president's expected to continue holding several rallies each week until the November midterms. The Mormon Church is backing a deal that would legalize medical marijuana in conservative Utah after months of debate. The church is joining lawmakers, Governor Gary Herbert, and advocates in a deal today to push medical marijuana and legislation forward, even if a November ballot initiative fails. This is Fox News.
Calvo started with a simple handshake. As we celebrate 80 years, we extend a hand to all of you who have taken our hand in trust, to the dreamers and realists, the families, the businesses, the young at heart, and the old souls, our manumku and our children. From all of us to all of you, our deepest, happiest, and infinite thanks.
80 years here for you. 80 years thanks to you. Calvo's Insurance, a legacy of trust.
Grilled salmon, petite sirloin. Can't decide.
What are you doing?
Making my top 10 list of favorite dishes at Ruby Tuesday.
You really need to get a hobby.
But I can't decide. There's no way I can narrow down so many classic dishes to just 10.
Then it's a good thing Ruby Tuesday did it for you.
It's the all-time favorites menu at Ruby Tuesday Guam. We took our most popular dishes and put them on one great menu for only $14.99. Hickory pork chop, Parmesan shrimp pasta, prime loco moco. 10 top sellers at one great price. Pick your favorite for a limited time at Ruby Tuesday Guam.
Best opinion.
A former Navy veteran is arrested for sending a hazardous substance to President Trump and members of his administration has confessed.
An affidavit filed in Utah's 2nd Judicial District says William Clyde Allen III confessed to buying castor beans, grinding them up, and putting them in threatening letters sent to members of the president's administration. Allen was arrested Wednesday at his home in Logan, north of Salt Lake City, and is being held in the Davis County Jail. The poison ricin comes from castor beans, and swallowing castor beans themselves can cause injury. The letters were sent last week to the president, FBI Director Christopher Wray, Defense Secretary James Mattis, and top Navy officer Admiral John Richardson. All of the letters were intercepted. The one sent to the president was stopped before even reaching the White House. Jessica Rosenthal, Fox News.
3 crew members stationed on the International Space Station returned safely to Earth this morning aboard a Soyuz capsule.
2 Americans and 1 Russian landed in Kazakhstan after spending nearly 200 days aboard the International Space Station.
And touchdown.
As seen on NASA television at about 7:45 Eastern Time this morning.
See the capsule on the ground, the parachute deflating. The capsule does appear to be on its side, which is not unusual.
NASA's Drew Feustel and Ricky Arnold and Russian cosmonaut Oleg Artemyev are said to be in good condition.
Moscow Station on Space Ground 2. Congratulations.
The 2 Americans are to be flown back to Houston in short order. Eben Brown, Fox News.
Alan Alda will receive the SAG Life Achievement Award at next year's Screen Actors Guild Awards ceremony. The Actors Union announcing today Alda will accept its highest honor on January 27th. Alda, best known for his 11 seasons as Dr. Hawkeye Pierce on MASH. He's earned an Oscar nomination, 6 Emmys, 6 Golden Globes, and 3 Tony Award nominations. I'm Rich Dennison. This is Fox News.
It's important to have claims process that works for you. At Guahan Insurance Services, we make things simple and convenient. Same door you walk in to purchase your insurance is the same door you open to file your claim. We can't pretend that the car insurance claims process is fun, but we can promise a hassle-free and speedy recovery without any runarounds. For your home, auto, and business insurance, visit us at the Camacho Landmark Center on Marine Corps Drive in Tamuning. Don't forget to like us on Facebook or give us a call at 475-1162 or text 929-SAVE. That's 929-7283.
It's 9:05, the Ray Gibson Show on 93.3 The Point, and Chris Dueñas is going to be coming in here talking about it. I want to say affordable housing, and everything is relative when we start talking about a build that might get to about $100,000. But we'll spend a little bit of time talking about that as well in just a couple of minutes. And the great opportunity to talk about beef Tinactac, right? Ray Gibson Heart Attack Tinactac, and you can get the King's version of it for lunch today. Yes, today it's the big special. They've got a different daily special, and today it is beef Tinactac, and I like to talk about it because I like beef Tinactac, and beef Tinactac is also the signal that it's Friday. That's for lunch at King's.
The first ever of anything is always special. That's why we're excited about the first ever 2018 Nissan Kicks. The Kicks kicks things up with best-in-class MPG, standard safety technology with automatic emergency braking system, and best-in-class cargo space to meet any lifestyle. Upgrades kicks things up with Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, and Bose driver headrest speakers. Over 1.4 million colorful options means your Kicks can be a first ever of its kind. The Kicks starts at under $20,000. Visit Nissan Guam for a test drive today. Nissan, innovation that excites.
A whole gaggle of advertisers sponsor the Ray Gibson Show, so I like to, as often as I can, say nice things about them. A Guam Regional Medical City, first choice for all of your open heart surgery needs. And we've got MRE, Micronesia Renewable Energy. Get some solar off that roof of yours and turn it into electricity with these guys. APL, American President Lines, they're shipping the future. And American Water Tech, smarter water, better water.
The Westin Resort Guam is excited to announce the return of Hansik at Taste. Experience the elegance of Korean cuisine throughout the years, infused with a modern Chinese twist. Their guest chefs from Korea will take you on an extraordinary culinary voyage. $36 for adults and $18 for children 6 to 11. From October 8th to the 13th. Come and enjoy the taste of Hansik Korean lunch buffet from 11:30 to 2:30 at Taste. Call the Westin Guam Resort for reservations at 647-1020.
Cold Stone Creamery invites you to try a couple of new flavors they've got there. Banana bread battered ice cream. Now, is it banana bread batter, or is it they take banana bread and beat the hell out of it? Because it's battered, right? So and find out by going to Cold Stone. And if you're thinking, well, that sounds nice, what else you got? Sea salt caramel ice cream, which in my mind is about the same as salt and vinegar potato chips. And you go, am I going to like this? And then you eat one, and then 2 minutes later, the bag is gone. Everything inside has vanished because it's so good. That's going to be the same experience that you get with the premium Ghirardelli sea salt caramel sauce they use in that new creation at Cold Stone Creamery. 30 years of the ultimate ice cream experience.
The Coconut Wireless is back. Morning talk that matters. The Ray Gibson Show.
So we were on the phone, and I said, hey, we're going to call you back a little bit later on and finish the conversation about these new kind of mobile homes that Chris Duenas was talking about. And lo and behold, he finds himself in the studios here of 93.3 The Point. Hey, Chris, how you doing?
Great, Ray, and I wanted to see where the magic happens. I've been enjoying your show.
Oh, thanks so much for saying so. I appreciate that.
And definitely my good friend, Senator Bob Klitsky. Catch him all the time, starting at 4 o'clock in the afternoon with Tall Tales. And listen along with the international radio audience.
His large international group that follows him, the Tall Tales, very passionate listeners and callers. Well, I hope you like the studio.
I do. Thanks for letting me in.
No problem. No problem. Maybe if depending on how long you're here, we can stick around and do the actual tour because there's frankly not a lot of technology in this room in the studio that we're in. In fact, I can put the camera on so that you can see the almost lack of it. We got telephone devices and some computers, but basically that's it. So a forest of microphones and cameras. The real technology is in the other room where Michael Knight is working. He's got multiple video monitors in there, multiple control surfaces that control all of the audio into and out of the radio station. So very, very cool technology, and I'm delighted to show it off.
Right on.
Frankly, because it's all state of the art. It's all crazy digital. There's almost no analog devices in here except I think me. I think people say analog or digital. I think what I think I'm too old to be digital.
I'm analog too.
Analog radio guy here. What can I say? Anyway, so first of all, what are you doing at Guam Housing? That's your new shop?
Yeah, it's been my new shop actually. In the after 2016 election, my good friend Senator Tony Yada went down to the front office to assume my duties as the liaison with the governor's office. And so the governor had asked me, would you mind going over there and working at Guam Housing? And I said, that sounds like a great opportunity, Governor. And so I got together with Senator Talina Nelson, newly elected, and we took her for a tour basically of Guam Housing after I've been there for a few weeks. And she set up the confirmation hearing, and the rest is history. So for the last couple of years, that's what I've been doing.
But big shoes to fill.
Yes, Martin Beneventi.
Uncle Martin.
Uncle Martin, just a beloved gentleman. Just a really, really sharp and passionate guy too. He started a lot of the stuff that I'm finishing. And
that's what that's one of the things. As I was listening to you this morning, some of that began to ring familiar from conversations that I've had with him and Caesar over at Guam Housing.
Caesar Villanueva, my very, very capable special assistant. He came from Gura. His history is doing also the housing study when the buildup was about to happen somewhere in 2008. So just a lot of institutional knowledge. Of course, the staff there, most of them, some of them actually been there almost since the beginning.
Right.
And so career folks, they really know what they're doing. It's a great team. I have a wonderful board led by my chairman, Frank Florg. You may know him. He's a very civic-minded individual other than his private sector work that he's done over the years. And so it's just a really, really great and diverse team. And so basically what Uncle Martin was doing during his time is, he was really one of those guys that gets out there in the weeds, literally in the weeds. So he would constantly come back, and as I was staffing in the governor's office, he would be reporting to the governor and the administration during senior staff that, there's people really, when especially when storms happen, or if you just look behind the boonies, there's people that live in really substandard conditions on Guam.
Yes,
and it's not only just our brothers and sisters from FSM; it's our people. And so he was constantly looking at different, and the board was constantly looking at different building systems that we could try to to bring to Guam that would be affordable.
Yeah, there's a bridge that needs to be. There's a huge gap that needs to be bridged between what people are earning and what they can get loaned to them, and the cost of construction, the cost of materials, unfortunately, don't seem to be going down. And so you have to look at it at the process and say, well, what can we control here?
Sure.
And when we start looking at some of the materials that are used in construction, maybe if we get our minds off of the concrete and rebar mentality that we have been in necessarily, since the 60s and the 1970s.
Absolutely.
Once we get out from that paradigm, all of a sudden you start looking at other materials and say, yeah, that might be something that I might be able to build a house with that will sustain 160-mile-an-hour winds.
Absolutely. So there were several contractors. We have now 4 qualified contractors at Guam Housing for affordable housing. They have come to us and presented different systems. We built one. That house is actually currently for sale. And so this is the second actual model, and we're going to actually build 2 of them this time that we're going to build so that people can come and see this building system. And you're right. It's a concrete metal structure system combination. And as I was mentioning earlier, I think the write-up really kind of caught the term modular because our major comparison.
Well, when you say modular, I think of mobile homes. I think of the old J&G modular homes that we had back in the 1970s. That I knew people that lived happily in those modular homes and never thought twice about it until the big winds came. And they said, "No, I think I need to build something with a concrete floor and a concrete roof."
Or camp walk-ins. Thinking, where the Onward is now, that was quite a large village of modular homes.
Yeah.
But I think the reason why the writer used the term was because our comparison that we use is by the time you take a 45-foot container and make it aesthetically pleasing, put the foundation in because it has to be anchored down if it's going to be set up properly. By the time you go through all of that, we've seen anywhere between $45,000 to $60,000 by the time you outfit something like that. So with this contractor, he seems to have perfected really this concrete metal combination. And one of the reasons why we like to use the container comparison is the gauge of metal that actually is on the outside skin of this home is double the thickness of a container.
Oh, that's interesting.
And so what you have here basically is you have a fully concrete pad that's laid down, just like a foundation pretty much for a standard fully concrete home. And then there's 4 solid pillars coming up. And so everything other than that is the metal system, interior and exterior walls. And then it's a metal system on the roof that's insulated. It's about 3 inches thick. And it's got insulation between the metal. And then he caps it off with a 4-inch concrete on the roof as well. The thing that makes this system affordable, first of all, he sources the materials from Korea. He can put 10 units in one container. That's about 60 to 70% of the materials required to build the home.
Oh, it's containerized.
Containerized, and he ships them out here and pretty much
put the container on your construction site and start building it like a
rector set.
Rector set,
yeah. Basically everything's plug and play. All the cabinets are plug and play. It's a lot of good features. The door jambs are composite. So you don't have the termite issues and stuff. It really is a very, very interesting system.
Is it pre-wired, pre-plumbed for water, electricity,
everything's
gas?
pretty much in the walls, somewhat. But of course, has to be run and everything else. But most of the stub outs and everything else are already put in place. And so that's where he's really going to save
windows?
the money.
Is there windows?
Windows, beautiful windows.
We're talking about a metal house here, Chris. It's going to be hot in the daytime.
Actually, with the insulation, he says absolutely not. It'll actually be quite a bit cooler.
Wow.
And so like I said,
are they using Radva or something like that?
They're not using. I got a sample at the office. If you get a chance, I should have brought it. But it's not necessarily Radva. It's some kind of a foam, insulating foam.
A gap in between the metal and
it's encased
and the inside.
Absolutely.
So $100,000 and trying to think in my head how that compares to any kind of new construction that we're talking about now. What's that come down to for
so it's probably
foot?
$100 a foot, and I don't think you can find $100 a foot around Guam right now.
I don't think you can find $200 a foot on Guam right now.
Exactly. I think it's from the last contractor that I spoke to, a good friend of mine who's built for me before. He said, Chris, it's anywhere between $225, two if you're lucky.
Yeah.
But right around $225.
$250 if you want it done quick.
Absolutely.
Yeah, per square
so,
foot.
where this system also where the affordability comes in is the fact that he estimates and by all his calculations, a 3-bedroom he can put up in 60 days. And so labor costs are down, material costs are down. I mean, just assembly and everything else.
Right.
The real time consumption really is in concrete that has to sit, and the concrete that is in it that has to sit and
give me a
and
couple of
cure.
weeks. Sure.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. And so you just show up with the dirt. Here comes the guy. He can do the assembly. So what's your long-term prospect for this? Is there part of build these things up and then we contract with Gura and put people inside of them, or is this make it part of a program where and what this is what I envision is not necessarily folks that are poor. I think there's a lot of programs that are available for the poor. It's I think the working poor, where you've got a husband and a wife and 2.5 kids and a dog, but still between the money that they are able to bring into the house, it's still not enough to get the coverage from the bank. So this is one of those programs. I think we could put a family like that into these homes.
Yeah. So I also we jokingly say around Guam Housing, this is and with folks that I've talked to, we call this house the son move out of my house.
I want an empty nest house
because it's a starter home and because it's I think this will be Guam's probably version of mini home, right? So if you were in a 3-bedroom or a 2-bedroom, you're looking at 600, 750, and then 980 square feet. So they're not big homes, but they're definitely very affordable and very well built. As I said, fully engineered, fully insurable. So yeah, and so this contractor has gone to 2 banks now. One actually financed him, and the other actually is looking at has qualified some of their buyers for this system. What's interesting is...
Well, remember the banks, and to the listeners, the bank's interest is they want to make sure that the house will last long enough to get to the end of a mortgage.
Absolutely.
So they're going to be interested in the survivability of the house, the survivability of the note, and also want to make sure that the place can be insured, that you'd be able to go to an insurance company and say, okay, here's my non-Guam concrete hot box, house, and can I get insurance from you so the bank will bless the note?
Absolutely. Yeah. And so we think that one of the largest markets of for this particular system is also going to be Chamorro Land Trust. And so because at Guam Housing we are the only financial institution that will finance long-term loans, mortgages on land trust property. So that's also one of the reasons why we were really looking for a system that would fit with our typical clientele that has Chamorro Land Trust property. And so we think that will be one of the largest markets.
But it sounds good. It's a lot more substantial than your standard Booney house.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
and that's what we're thinking. Really to put a suitable structure on land trust property, and that's what we're trying to offer.
Yeah, and we're not talking about massive lots here either, so something that might actually proportionally fit the spot that you're putting it into. Roy Gamboa says, can you send me the info? Chris Duenas is talking about planning to build, but I want to know what you've got. So where can we get details on in this particular kind of construction?
So what I'll do, Ray, is when I get back to the office, I'll send you a link to the website, and you can pull it up and check it out for yourself.
Okay, because there are going to be people that are interested in something like this, or maybe just getting the idea of being able to put something like this together, where you've got all of the cool things about concrete that we like, but then using another material for the walls so that you can get in there a little bit more economically, and as you point out, a little bit faster.
Absolutely faster, and like I said, the insulation factors. It also does come with an option for solar. For an additional $10,000, you can outfit the roof with solar, and the contractor believes you'll have a minimal or maybe not even a power bill.
Yeah, well, I was going to say, it's something like that, 900 square feet or 980 square feet. I mean, just it's a 9,000 BTU air conditioner ought to be able to take care of at least a couple of the
those,
big parts
and
of
you're
the
off
room.
and running. Absolutely,
right? And it's all inverter technology anymore, so it's not like you need a massive amount of electricity coming off of the roof. and you got the tax credits that are going for you. So there's a number of programs. I mean, if you think about a wraparound opportunity between Guam Housing, Guam Energy, GPA, and the Department of Revenue and Tax, there might be some options for people to be able to get into something like this, develop it, and really have, I think, a pretty good quality of life at the end of the day.
I think so, Ray. And really, this, like I said, once again, I've had a couple of engagements that I've spoken at, and some folks were like, "Oh, this." How do you think this will affect the market? I said, if you look at the housing study and you look at our population currently, this is what the market needs. Anybody who can afford a $300,000, $400,000 mortgage, they're already getting in.
They're already living at Blue Lattice.
Absolutely,
they already have the place in Barragata Heights or up in Jigo.
But the moderate to low income, I mean, those are the folks really that are living with their parents right now. Probably building an extension on their parents' home or something like that, and really, by the time they're out of that, it would probably be about the same price. So there's a lot of our families too. You know this, Ray. There's a lot of our families that are still land rich and cash poor. So the bottom line is they have the property, they just don't have the means to build with today's construction costs.
Yeah, and so you get a few more of the construction companies. You line up a gang of bankers and insurance people and say, okay, this is a process that we can put together and support. We've talked on this program many times. One of the biggest challenges that we're going to be facing, and frankly are facing right now, is a shortage of housing for middle income people. Like I said, we've got programs for the very poor, and we've got as you say, people of means have means, and they can go to the bank. But there's a whole lot of people. I think it's a growing population that find themselves in competition with one of a couple of different kinds of renters: the Gura renters and the military renters. And so between those, and they're eating up all of the available inventory of housing. So we've got to figure out how to get into some good housing as quickly as possible. There are other ways to bridge the gap. There's a concept called the Mortgage Credit Certificate Program that I know that a couple of guys are trying to work on, where they're taking, it's like an anticipation note. We know what you're going to be, what your mortgage interest is going to be, and so we apply that as a credit on these certificates, and then you're able to use that to bring down the price of the home, so that might be a little bit more affordable to people. It's interesting mathematics that goes through with this, and there are some income thresholds that you'll have to get through, but there are plans that work, and we'll know, I think, more about them but between here and the end of the year. What else are you guys going to be up to over at Guam Housing? Well,
right now the biggest program that we have and we continue to promote is our first-time homeowners grant program. And so I made it. That was part of my presentation down at the Rotary Club of Northern Guam as well. And actually, we've issued now 555 grants, and that has translated into $3.5 million that we've issued. And the economic activity related to that is $113 million, and that's just the loan amounts associated with those grants. Can you imagine? We all know what happens when we move into a home. The first thing we got to do is run over to Kmart, Home Depot,
Ross, Macy's,
Benson.
The very rich people at Macy's.
You and I are over at Benson, and so. And
I was that close to buying $120 worth of sheets a couple of weeks ago, and I thought, well, wait a second, let me just price the same thing downstairs at Ross. So you guess what I ended up? Guess where I ended up buying?
Probably Ross.
I was downstairs for a while. I was in line.
So you could imagine what the economic activity is associated with that. So I think that's really that's one of the features too that we've been able to put folks into homes. We figured
that's spread around all the villages too, right? I've noticed that
500. Of the 555, 500 of those loans were written for $200,000 or less. And most of those folks were just able to get that home because they got the $10,000 towards their closing costs. So that's what we're going to continue to work on. Lending capital for us is a real challenge right now, but we believe that there will be some investments coming up, especially now that the interest rates are going up. So the margins for us to make reasonable return should start to return. So if we right now, it doesn't make any sense for us to borrow money to re-lend on the market just because the margin isn't there. But that might be coming up soon here again. So we'll try to extend out. We're issuing about $3 to $3.5 million in loans a year, but our pipeline is like $20 million.
Oh, interesting.
And so there's a lot of need. We just got to continue to capitalize, Guam housing.
What are you doing with folks that are already in a home, or as is the case with you, sitting on a piece of property that, you know what, I don't want to live there, I don't want to sell it, I want to rent it out to somebody? Are there incentives that you've got for landlords and landowners, property owners, that would incentivize them to lease out to some of your target audience?
Well, we don't have that program at this point, but it's certainly something we should probably explore.
Yeah, because there are a lot of people that are sitting on properties that frankly don't know what to do with them, want to rent, but who am I going to rent it to? What are the incentives for doing something like that? And is there a way that I might be able to go and say get renovation dollars, and use that to beef up the property so I can rent it to Gura, or I can rent it to the military?
Yeah. So going back to, once again, in terms of innovative programs, we've talked to some bankers, and they're looking, and they're becoming more and more interested in seeing if they would change their policies, maybe by board direction or maybe even through legislation. Don't laugh. The full faith and credit of the government of Guam, backing up Chamorro Land Trust financing.
Hey, listen, if I was better prepared financially, there's no reason why I wouldn't become not a creditor of the bank but I would like the government to be a creditor back to me, because there's some great bonds that the government of Guam has taken out, and as we all know, those get paid first. And that's we've never defaulted on anything.
Absolutely,
we have always paid the bondholders, so it's not in a bad position to be holding a note for the government of Guam.
Absolutely. And so if you're securitizing that, and you're basically the first on paper, if you would, but the financial institutions reduce their risk. And so, a Bank Pacific, Phil and his group or others might say, right on, the government of Guam will take the first on this. Maybe the legislature does a set aside every fiscal year, $5 million, to pilot it and whatever else. And just lockbox that. That becomes the guarantee, and then these folks can go in, apply at the conventional banks.
I do want to laugh when you said lockbox. I was holding that in, because apparently there are no lockboxes here anymore these days. Not even the 911 money was safe from the claws or the clutches of the government of Guam. Fun conversation. What else have you been doing? I mean, besides the gig over at Guam Housing, anything else?
Just family stuff. A little bit of fishing.
Little bit of fishing. Come on.
Yeah, I'm trying to make it a lot of fishing this weekend. But that's why when I thought about coming up, I thought, man, I don't have my sashimi with me. But I said, you know what? I'll make up for it. I'll double the platter size next time. But yeah, just family stuff. Our youngest son is at FD, and he's a junior there, and so he's doing a really good job. And so
we got homecoming tonight.
Is that home? I don't know about that. That's why he was vacuuming the car.
Yeah, I think there's actual something going on for the football team this year. Anyway, it's always great catching up with you. And
you too, my friend.
And next time you need somebody to sit on the cooler on the fishing boat, you call me up.
Got it.
I'm not good at anything else. I'm not good at pointing the boat or steering the boat or anything. But sitting on the cooler, I'm your man.
And you can pass me one once in a while.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
We're there.
That's what we'll do. Chris Duenas from Guam Housing in the studio with me this morning, talking about a new way to think about modular homes, he says. Tell you what, iConnect time is in the studio. It's 9:30 in the morning. Call them up at 888-8888 and find out about why they are the practical choice. Great prices on mobile and internet, and what's the other, the push-to-talk plans that they've got right in the back door of the radio station at iConnect.
At Guam Regional Medical City, it is our mission to become the island's premier choice for specialty care, like cardiology, pulmonology, neurosciences, orthopedics, oncology services, and more. We aim to protect our island from heart attacks, strokes, cancer, and diabetic complications. But should you suffer from such diseases, we're ready with world-class options, both inpatient and outpatient. For more information, visit us at grmc.gu.
Let me just check and see if I got some fun on the WhatsApp here. I get a car wash fundraiser. tomorrow, Old Auto Spot Nissan in Agana by donation. I believe this is a fundraiser for Clint Rigel, a very interesting fella that I know from working with him in the media as a reporter guy, and now he's doing the thing. And Tom Shea says, "Okay, call me." So if you want to dial him up, that'd be all right. As I said, some interesting things that seem to be happening over at Guam Regional Medical City. They've decided that they're going to be making some changes to the way that the operation is compartmentalized and departmentalized, and it doesn't look like they are going to be in the business of delivering babies in the future, which is interesting. It's Guam Regional Medical City announced its intention of suspending the maternal child health services indefinitely, set to happen by the end of the year, ending contracts early for some. The units affected by the closure include labor, delivery, and recovery, neonatal intensive care, pediatric intensive care, and pediatrics. Hospital officials say maternal child health services are currently duplicated at both hospitals. Chief Medical Officer, and we get him in the studio all the time. In fact, they'll be in Monday. Dr. Felix Cabrera stated in part, "For us to continue providing sustainable and high-value specialized care, we've come to a critical junction where we must refocus our limited resources. We've also been honest in our assessment that our community is likely better served by consolidating maternal child health back to our GMH partners." You've heard me and others talk about how great they do with babies over at Guam Memorial Hospital. And as far as I'm concerned, I think as far as the numbers people at GMH are concerned, that's a cash register. You know, they got a lot of patients coming through there, and they generally have insurance or are of sufficient means to be able to pay for the services. And so we see a whole lot of that at Guam Memorial Hospital. And so, you know, if it's something that, and I know this from working with people over at GRMC, they're not generally in a position to want to duplicate services. And as we know from talking to them, they like to think, I think of themselves as a kind of a specialty hospital. You know, I joke around about, you know, them being the first choice for all of your open heart surgery needs. But it's that, and we know we got some really good neurologists over there, and people that want to talk to you about you know, medicine and different kinds of healthcare needs that we've got here on Guam that aren't generally taken care of at the clinic level. So it will be interesting to see how this changes the landscape a little bit at Guam Memorial Hospital with more access to more patients, certainly in that regime.
Yeah, it really was kind of deflating to me when I realized that our particular insurance doesn't go to GRMC. I was hoping we would get to go to that one, but we get to go to the other one.
Well, and that's the way it is with those guys. So it's one of those buyer beware things, and obviously you and I don't get to negotiate our individual contracts with the healthcare companies, and so that's you get what you get is the deal. But that doesn't necessarily mean, you know, depending on what you want to do, there might be some procedures that are covered by the individual doctors and the relationship with the individual doctors, and not necessarily something that you've got to go directly to GRMC for, right? So I mean, if you've got a doctor, I believe, that refers you to a doctor that works over at GRMC, I don't know that would necessarily embargo you from being able to avail yourself of those particular services. I don't know, because I've never checked, because I never get sick. It's the way it is. 9:35. Jack is on.
Hey, good morning, Raymond.
How you doing, buddy?
You know, I'm just a little bit, I don't know, pissed off or...
Why? At who?
Trying to vent my anger. Well, you know, a couple of days ago, 2 days ago, in fact, there was a presidential alert that went out.
Yes. I didn't get it.
Neither did I.
It came, there was a national test of the emergency alert system, so we received and retransmitted that message at 4:18 yesterday morning.
That one I got. I got that one from the radio.
Yeah.
I'm talking about the one for the cell phones.
There's Bob Kelly will be able to answer the question.
I tried to answer it yesterday.
Yeah, there's mechanisms, and there are the talents, the ways that they get the signal from here to there. So you know, we've got our system for the national EAS systems. Alerts come through the internet, and there are specific radio stations, television stations, cable outfits that would have received that signal. But
targeting
the cell phones, right?
Yeah.
So I can't make any comment about that. I don't know the specifics of how that message was treated.
No, well, because when I was on the mainland, the storm hit here in Guam, and I received a text message from GTA, notifying me that the storm was approaching and to prepare. And I was very grateful because I was able to contact and make sure that everything here on the ground was okay at my house and at work and things like that. But we're talking about a presidential alert. It's supposed to be an alert that bypasses. You can't opt out of this alert.
Correct.
Yeah, this goes straight to every cell phone subscriber. And like you said, various telecommunications. And like I said, I heard it on the radio. But it's very important I don't understand why nobody's making a stink about this, because at one end they say it's the local government's fault because it's part of the EAS system, and on the other end they say no, it's not our fault, it's on your provider. Your provider is supposed to provide this. Is supposed to be providing this emergency mechanism for you. They said it was the wireless emergency system.
Yeah, but I don't know. Like I said, I don't understand I do understand it, but there are different parts and different responsibilities that the telecom companies would have, and I don't know because I'm not in that side of telecom. I don't know what the connections would have been from the president to the telecom providers. I know what it is. I know what it is for me, and I know the specific equipment that I have to have, and the specific arrangements that we have with Homeland Security and the Offices of Civil Defense and the Federal Communications Commissions to be able to participate in these tests. However, when it comes to I know what the line is that goes from my wire rack here in the building back to the Department of Homeland Security in the United States. I don't know what the connections are for telecom.
Yeah, it's to FEMA. Really. But anyways, the reason why I had the concern is because when it went off, I contacted my cell phone provider, and they had zero clue about what I was talking about.
Can I admit something?
Zero clue.
I didn't know there was going to be a presidential test until it had already happened.
It was announced. It was I got a message through my email. I'm a very...
I got it on the news. I heard it on the news. I didn't know that there was going to be a presidential test. I just knew that there was going to be a nationwide EAS.
I try to build in some sort of redundancy for the information that I get, especially when it comes to weather, tsunamis, and stuff like that. So not only do I have my cell phone provider, I also have the Joint Typhoon Warning System, Homeland. It's just an old military habit to have a redundancy built into things such as is important for information, especially danger. And so, I'm just wondering why, even in the media, there was no concern about this. And we're talking about a national alert that's supposed to be reached every cell phone user.
Yeah, and in my case, in my case, I was simply concerned about making sure that our systems were up to par.
And it was. Your system worked great, but for us on the field, and all we have is our cell phone.
Yeah.
And it's not like the other alerts that you could opt out of. This one just goes straight through, and it says right this.
It's the original thinking behind the emergency alert system and the old EBS systems.
Yeah. So I understand what Bob was saying, but to me it made it sound like it was not a technology problem, but a provider problem. And if it's a provider problem, the question should be asked: why are not the notifications being released, or why aren't they tapped in?
Yeah.
To
you know what? I've got a provider in my backyard. I'll ask them at the end of the show.
Yeah.
Let's see what they've got to say.
It really was disconcerting when I called my provider up, and then I called my wife's provider up because she's on a different plan, and none of them had any idea about the presidential.
The presidential's supposed to beep you on the phone. Get out of here. When did they start doing that?
It's supposed to be a very, but hats off. When I was off island, I did get the alert that the typhoon was approaching, and it was great information, and it went through. And if they could do that alert, I don't understand why they weren't able to do the presidential alert. But
right.
The rumor that I got it, and it's strictly rumor, is that it's because our providers are not U.S. based. And I told him, I said, that doesn't make any sense because this is an FCC regulation.
Yeah, if they've got a federal ticket, then they should ought to be able to live up to it.
When Bob was explaining it, like I said, to me it didn't sound like a technical problem. It sounded like somebody just didn't want to provide the service.
But I'll find out what I'm. Like I said, when I get off the air.
You have a great weekend.
I intend to have an incredible weekend. There's so much going on, it's crazy. All right, buddy. You have a fantastic day and a great weekend to you as well. 888-8255. That's 888-8255. He'd referenced Bob Kelly in that conversation a couple of times. Good morning, Bob.
Good morning.
So what was the deal? And like I said, I heard about it when it was done. I got a thing from USA Today that was talking about this presidential beep that nobody could opt out of. That all the telecoms in the states did, but I didn't. I never got any messages on either of the services that I use.
I mean, what we're talking about is what's called the wireless emergency alerts.
Okay.
And those were required to be implemented last November 2017, although there were some delays, by the 5 biggest carriers in the United States.
Okay.
U.S. Cellular, Verizon, Sprint, AT&T, and T-Mobile. All the smaller carriers in the United States, and we're considered United States, and our carriers are not considered large carriers like Verizon or Sprint, have 18 additional months, or in some cases longer, to implement the system for the wireless emergency alert system.
Okay.
It is new in the States. They did the test in the States. Probably 90% of the people in the States subscribed to one of the 5 big carriers, so they would have received those alerts if everything was working properly. And remember, this was a test, and apparently it's, they're going to go through and look at it just like
they do with us.
Requirement. That's right. And this is the first time around on it. But the Guam carriers would not be expected to have implemented wireless emergency alert system at this time. It's called WEA. So and you also have to have phones and software updates to make everything what's called WEA capable too.
I don't know if I've got Samsung and an iPhone in front of me. I'm not sure if either one of those has been.
Probably they're capable. I'm sure of it.
So it's just at this point the local carriers who are not necessarily the big guys in comparison with the big guys in the States have got some time to be able to upgrade their systems, hardware, software, so that they are WEA capable.
That is correct. There's an additional 18 months granted for small and regional operators.
All right, and I will say this is by way of, I don't know, maybe a little bit of word I'm looking for, maybe justification. Sometimes hardware and software fixes are not cheap. The equipment that we are required by law to have working and tested in the building is not inexpensive. Sorry for the double negative, but that's the way I got to say it. And there are updates to those things that need to be installed from time to time as well. So trust when I say that there's one of the principal items in my wire room is a device that can receive, store, playback, and interrupt our systems with messages that are sent out by the Department of Homeland Security, Civil Defense, and others.
And not only this,
and it ain't cheap. Let me put it down. It's expensive equipment, and we have to have it.
But it also has to log the messages and when you play it out, so it's got to have the logging capability for auditing also.
Yes, and I receive an email every time a button is pressed somewhere.
Yes.
So the systems are all out there.
And I want to just make one comment. Eventually, hopefully the next year or two, the fire department will be able, or the government in Guam, I'm not necessarily in favor of it only being the fire department, will hopefully implement NG 911. This is also going to place costs on all the carriers here so that they can provide the information to NG 911 of all the location information and the additional information and interfaces required. So it's not only the cost when we talk about the cost of the $911 fee being put aside and for the fire department to upgrade, there is then also going to be some significant costs for each of the wireless carriers here to be, and not only wireless, also any wireline carrier, because IT&E PDS provides wirelines, to be able to also provide the information into NG 911. So there's going to be some expenses, including the wireless emergency WEA system that will have to be implemented in about the next year. They've got to get it done out here. So things are going to be coming down, and I think we're going to see the development. But this test was primarily for the national carriers and not the small regional operators in the United States, and we're a small regional operator in the United States. So it was really not geared toward them because most of them have not implemented it yet.
Okay, I think I got the full picture here, Bob. Appreciate you calling in and straightening it out. I don't know if it makes Jack any happier, but I appreciate at least hearing it.
In about 6-8 months, he'll get what he wants.
I would hope so. You know, we talked with Joey St. Nicholas a couple of weeks ago about that. I guess they've finally gotten the paperwork the way they like it from the Attorney General's office and have now gone out looking for bids on an NG 911 system. My assumption is, like everything else in the world, there's different companies that will develop, build, and operate these 911 systems, right?
That's an issue, a whole new issue that you don't have time to go into, but let's chat about it next week.
All right. Talk to you pretty soon. You have a terrific weekend to yourself. Bob Kelly with me on the program here, 9:48 in the morning. And as I said, one of the big stories that is floating around, probably in the medical community, and maybe even just a subset of the medical community, where we talk about labor and delivery, is the idea that Guam Regional Medical City wants pretty much to get out of that gig and have everything centralized now for labor and delivery over at Guam Memorial Hospital. One of the spokesperson, ombudsmans, if you will, for that industry is my old friend and new grandfather, Dr. Tom Shea. Good morning, Doc.
Hi, good morning, Ray. Sorry I couldn't call you earlier.
That's okay. Delivering babies.
I did. I did a beautiful baby this morning.
Nice. Nice.
Yeah, you wanted to talk?
Yeah, well, I wanted to get your thoughts on GRMC. It looks like they're going to be backing out of the labor and delivery business and putting more emphasis, quote, on the partners at Guam Memorial Hospital. They don't want to duplicate the services any more than they need to, and I think they, are lining themselves up to be kind of a specialty care hospital, and Guam Memorial Hospital more of a general care hospital, including your very profitable labor and delivery center.
Well,
so what do you think about that change?
My push for Guam Memorial Hospital for renovation is really not dependent on GRMC. Whether GRMC proceeds to continue with their labor room, I encourage them to do that because it helps the indigent patients. But it's a financial decision that they have to make. And it comes down to whether or not it's, like you said, profitable or not. And when GRMC first opened, they asked me to go over there, and Mike Cruz is a very good friend of mine, and we talk a lot. I just chatted with him yesterday and today, and we'll meet up this week as well. And I think I read his press release, the one you sent me, and I agree with him. I agree with Dr. Cruz's assessment, Dr. Cabrera's assessment, and I think they probably should have done it maybe a year ago, but it's better late than never what they're trying to do. To be financially viable in a for-profit hospital situation, I think you have to look at your patient population. And, I wish I could go there. And I told Mike, hey, listen, I wish I could, go to GRMC and deliver, but I can't be at two places. The two hospitals are too far away from each other. And I can't be there and somebody in labor at GMH and somebody in labor over at GRMC. There's no way, unless you gave me a Star Trek beam or something, But I think if I had gone over there, I'd take my private patients with me, etc. But I have to, let go of GMH, and that's tough because GMH really is the hospital that's serving a lot of the indigent population as well. So at the end of the day, I think I'll meet up with Mike as well, and I do support their decision, and I think the press release is good. And I think they recognize that Guam Memorial Hospital has always been the referral center for obstetrics. I mean, we're the best at what we do. And I think his press release says that very clearly, is that the redundant services for them is just not competitive to GMH. And I think GMH are really doing a very good job. What I would support GRMC is to build up the heart program, to build up the neurosurgery program.
Yes.
And those are the specialty programs that I've always advocated for from the very beginning, before the inception of GRMC. You know, when we talked about a hospital side, I just thought there was going to be a specialty hospital anyway.
Well, I remember being surprised when I was talking to at least one of their administrators a few years ago when they first started talking about the services that they had, and I was surprised to find that they were going to be talking about labor and delivery because they had earlier suggested that they would not be getting into a lot of competitive fields with Guam Memorial Hospital. So it surprised me that they went in that direction. But here it is, you know, a few years later after the grand opening of the place, and they find that maybe that's not as rich a field as they had originally thought. There are other diseases and physical calamities that people have that are frankly more profitable to treat that they are going after.
Yeah, and I think, you know, I've been on, you know, I've been here for 22 plus years, you know. So I have a lot of, I have thousands of patients that's already established with me. And I'm lucky in a way that my patients are very loyal. They never really left me. Wherever I go, you know, in fact, many of my patients said, "Doc, listen, I'll have you deliver my baby in the back of my car if you need to." And I said, no, don't do that. But, you know, wherever I go, I mean, certainly GRMC is a nicer place, but they stuck with me because, you know, I take good care of them. And sometimes, you know, you have to focus on your provider, the doctor, that wherever you go, even in the stateside too. Here in Hawaii, if your doctor doesn't go to Queen to go to Kapiolani, you got to go to Kapiolani because you go where your doctor goes. And I think that for GRMC to make a decision to say we're going to let go obstetrics, I think is in the best business interest. And I think it's actually in the best interest of the island. In a way, I could be selfish and say, you know, and I told Mike this, I said, keep it open because, you know, you come to GMH, I'm gonna lose more of my availability for my hours to do surgery because, you know, we're gonna have to take in more patients.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I think if GRMC can be more focused on the specialty side, I think it will be profitable for them. And I'll help them out in that respect. But, you know, they have to kind of reorganize themselves and focus on that route.
Well, does that line us up better, do you think, for an opportunity to put a little bit more pressure on the government of Guam to support your $9 million, going to end up being $10 million build of the Labor and Delivery Center at Guam Memorial Hospital? Now that it's very clear that the GMH is going to be, for all intents and purposes, the only game in town outside of a couple of other private locations. It seems to me that there is a clear motive, a clear incentive for them to say, let's really put some money behind this now.
Yeah, I was jogging around GMH this morning because I was waiting for one of my moms to deliver, and I was jogging around and past the lobby. I said, man, look at these posters. The posters have been up at GMH lobby for the renovation for 3 years, and that's what I was so disappointed at the current administration that they couldn't make it happen.
Yep.
I think if there's a will, they can make it happen. But the problem is that whether or not it's Adaloop's fault, we can point fingers, whether or not it's Jay Rojas over at Gita, whether or not it's Peter John, whether or not it's Benita. You know, whoever it is, I really don't care, but get it done. You know, I don't care if they're a month late, 2 months late, or 3 or 4 years late, but let's get it done because at the end of the day, it's the best investment for Guam. I can't think of a better investment to invest in the future generation of this island, you know. And you're right. I think the pressure is on GMH to make sure that they do renovate. And I see the legislature didn't put it as a priority in the budget. And I talked to Benjamin Cruz several times. I emailed all the senators. But, you know, I mean, I'm only one vote. Unless you and me run, then we make it happen, right?
Right in, Ray and Tom. No, Tom and Ray. I don't want to be the governor.
We had a discussion on right in before.
I know it. It looks like it's going to be happening with Frank and Alicia. That'll make the weekend gossip conversations that much more interesting.
They've decided to actually make it official?
I'll see if I can link on. In fact, go to my page on Facebook. I've got a link there.
I saw your Facebook post.
Yeah. So
I posted it. I said, what does that mean? I mean, that was just a commercial, but what does that mean? Remember we talked about the write-in, we're diverting our subject, but going back, we talked about a write-in before the election, and we said, how do you do it? And Maria Pangilinan came on, and he said, well, to be a legitimate write-in, if you're using commercials, you have to make sure that you sign up at GEC and make sure you file, and they have to recognize you as an official candidate. So whether or not Frank did that, I'm not sure. And if he did, I haven't heard about it.
There's nothing in the news that suggests that he's been to the GCIC building. Yeah. We'll look into that. I got the whole weekend to dig into that.
Yeah, dig into that, because right now, the only two candidates I have at a Guam Medical Association debate coming up in 2 weeks, and I hope you'll be there with your, recorder, whatever it is. In 2 weeks, we're going to have a debate, and that debate is only going to include Lou Leon-Guerrero and Ray Tenorio and their lieutenant governor candidate.
Right.
And that's it. And I told both sides that, their third candidate is write-in. A write-in is not a legitimate candidate for us to be recognized.
Unless they go through the GEC. Hey, Doc, I got to run. You have a great weekend. Deliver lots of babies. I'll see you out there.
Absolutely. I keep advocating for the moms and baby for the renovation.
I absolutely will. All right.
Thank you very much.
Closing in on 10 o'clock in the morning. The radio station is KUSG Hagutnia. Let me just take this real quick break, and we'll wrap up the show.
Grilled salmon, petite sirloin. Can't decide.
What are you doing?
Making my top 10 list of favorite dishes at Ruby Tuesday.
You really need to get a hobby.
But I can't decide. There's no way I can narrow down so many classic dishes to just 10.
Then it's a good thing Ruby Tuesday did it for you.
It's the all-time favorites menu at Ruby Tuesday Guam. We took our most popular dishes and put them on one great menu for only $14.99. Hickory pork chop, Parmesan shrimp pasta, prime loco moco. 10 top sellers at one great price. Pick your favorite for a limited time at Ruby Tuesday Guam.
Cheese curls and hot sauce, pantosta and coffee. Great alone, but better together. Here's another perfect pair for you. Docomo Pacific has created the Better Together Bundle, combining 2 great services for one low price. Get unlimited local talk, text, and 20 gigs of data, plus unlimited home internet speed up to 20 megabits for $109 per month. You also get free installation and a Galaxy A8 Plus when you sign up today. Mobile plus online. From Docomo Pacific, better together. Some conditions apply. Call 688-KRC store for details.
Well, I guess that's it. I guess that's all I got time for today. Bob Klitsky going to be on the radio at 4 o'clock this afternoon, and he's going to take long, loving, and logical looks at all of the big stories that we've been playing around with, maybe even a couple of other things as the Tall Tales continues. Had a great time yakking with a bunch of people this morning about a bunch of different topics. Hope you had a good time listening and watching on YouTube Live. Now, I'm going to be, just FYI, you might get a couple of notices and alerts on Facebook if I can get my credentials logged back in properly in the system, and just ignore it, because it doesn't mean I'm going back on the air for another 4-hour show. It just means that I'm testing out the system, so you might be able to see some of that, but not completely unhappy with all the people that have now newly subscribed to the Ray Gibson channel on YouTube, and the show will always be there, and we'll get us back on Facebook Live in time for Bob Klitsky's program this afternoon. So a ton of stuff going on this weekend, and I hope you get out there. We got the Wine Fest tonight. I got a couple of fundies going on, Strides for the Cure tomorrow. I'm going to see if I can put on lace up my running shoes for that, and just be on the lookout for me and pals goofing off all weekend long. The radio station is KUSG Hagutnia. Coming up next, Fox News Live for Michael Knight, Kevin Kerrigan. Almost said Kevin Klitsky. Kevin Kerrigan and Blake Watson. On behalf of those guys, thanks so much for listening. Catch you Monday.